And we are good. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're doing another special for the GameBusters podcast. If you are still following along with us right now, our main show is kind of we're watching every video game movie and reacting to it. Video game movie hell is what we're calling it. I believe we just put up Mortal Kombat from 1995 the other day, so go check that out. It'll be in your feed right now. And coming up next for you guys is Mortal Kombat Annihilation. We are a lot farther ahead, though. We actually just recorded the Lara Croft Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie yesterday. So,
Nice.
Yes,
Wow.
very good movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Make sure to keep subscribed to the podcast feed. We're still doing it every 2 weeks on Friday. You get a new movie reaction dropped in your feed there. So today, however, we're doing something a little bit different we've done the last few years. We're going to be making some bets and some predictions with some discussion on the Game Awards 2023. Who's going to win? Who's going to be the heroes, the zeros? Who are the flubs and the snubs? Where are the dubs going to be? So we're all going to be betting on the individual categories, and then we're going to have we're going to throw out a few wild ones for you at the end of funny things that we think should happen. Probably won't happen, but should happen at the Game Awards. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So just introduce everybody. Everyone say your name.
I'm Sonny. My webcam's not working at the moment.
Yeah, he's some sort of a pirate right now. Is that like a Hero Forge thing? It looks like that art design.
It is, yes. It's
Yeah.
my character in the campaign we're running at the moment.
Okay, I figured.
Nice. I'm David.
Do you want to say a fun fact about like maybe how much of a pirate you are?
For Sonny or me. I used to go to Pirate Bay, if I can say that on a stream. Of course, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
and
no.
everything is legally obtained, and I already owned it before I got anything. So
Yeah, I don't even know why I pirated it because I already owned it. So
yeah. Well, sometimes you want a second copy so you can put it on two devices and watch
Right.
it at the same time.
oh, for sure. All right, and Adam.
I'm Adam. I'm about 30% pirate, mostly on my mother's side. So
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that is a good fact. Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and get into it. We are, by the way, just for the record, leaving out our what was I gonna say? The esports categories because one, I don't think anybody cares, and two, I have no idea how to even discuss those things.
I did 8 hours of esports research.
Did you?
I watched
So.
every tournament.
So you just watched the League of Legends World Championships last night? That was your 8 hours?
I just watched a bunch of like League of Legends streams and cried
I-
myself to sleep.
I did see that a news thing this morning that the League of Legends World Championship last night was the most watched esports event in history. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's crazy that they're still able to
That's
keep these
wild.
numbers.
yeah, no, I think it's only only a few games are really able to still pull this. Like League is definitely one of them. Like the other ones are kind of dropping off more. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, people. I think it's because like I don't know the way that League is like as a top down like kind of MOBA. It's like it is pretty easy to spectate it and like tell what's going on. I think that's a huge part of it because like I think the biggest problem with like trying to get Overwatch to be an esport was like it's a first person shooter. It's very hard to tell what's going on the entire map at the same time. Whereas like with League, you can just
Yeah.
kind of zoom out and see what everybody is doing and commentate on it. But anyway, so
Makes sense.
yeah,
It's
let's
a little cleaner than Dota 2 was as well. Dota 2 I felt was hard to follow battles a lot of times.
yeah. I think that's also kind of due to like the art style and like how dark the maps are and everything, etc. Like
Yeah.
League is very colorful, easy to see. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, first we're going to be going on Game of the Year. We were Momo was supposed to be here. She may pop in later, but
Hopefully.
we'll just leave her blank for now and see what happens. She's currently
Start
playing
with
Halo
Game of the Year.
Infinite, according to Discord. Yeah, so we're going to start with Game of the Year.
Right.
I'm guessing that we're probably all going to do the same thing for this. It's probably not going to be a very interesting discussion, but yeah, I am going to be selecting Baldur's Gate 3 to win that. I wouldn't put it at 100% personally because I think there is still like a small shot for Zelda to come through, but at this point in the year, I like looking back. It's like sure, like Zelda was like dominated discussion for like 2 maybe 3 months, but like the whole second half of the year, people have been talking about Baldur's Gate. Like it's pretty much completely dominated the whole second half of the year. Like, and I think even if people like, you know, years from now, if they look back, they'll be like, Zelda was a better game. Though right now, it's like, there's the recency bias of it, but there's also like, well, Zelda already kind of won. I think people will kind of have that in the back of their head and be like, oh, maybe it's time for like not a AAA big, you know, developer to win or whatever. So that's just kind of my thoughts. I think probably everyone's gonna agree, maybe for different reasons, but I'm just going to put down 50 on this because it's not an exciting bet. All right, David?
I actually, well, in the Game Awards, I voted for Alan Wake 2 because that was one I wanted to win the most.
Yeah, sure.
So Zelda is my second favorite game of the year after Armored Core 6, which did not show up. So I have not played Baldur's Gate 3. I've kind of followed a little bit of the discourse, so I'm obviously aware that it is very popular. I think Tears of the Kingdom did do a lot of positive improvement on the Breath of the Wild formula, and in my opinion, made a much better game.
Yeah,
than
100%.
Breath of the Wild was.
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild was, you know, a lot of people say one of the best games they've ever played, and I think Tears of the Kingdom was a lot better of a game. So I actually will put points on Zelda.
Okay.
Just to keep things different.
Yeah.
I respect Baldur's Gate 3 for the amount of like effort that's been put into it and all of the dev work. One of these days, when I get hundreds of hours, I will play through it.
Yeah. I actually want to, like on that note, I'll say like I think I have played like 10, maybe 12 hours of Baldur's Gate 3, and while I am very impressed with it, like it to me it doesn't even like qualify to be in the same sentence as talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Like Tears of the Kingdom is one of like the top 5 best games I've played in my whole life. So I would absolutely like for Zelda to win. I think it deserves the win, but like I just don't I don't know. It seems like I think BG3 is kind of just like taken over people's lives. Like it's broken into the casual audience somehow. Like a CRPG has broken into like casual gamers who don't really play video games ever. Like it's unbelievable, really. But anyway, yeah,
they wrote a rather massive amount of content, and also it kind of it has a little bit of that Hades vibe, but just like bigger, where it's like people are shocked at how much was written and how much was voice acted across the board, and you're like, how does this just keep going and going and going, and there's just like more things constantly,
right?
Which is impressive. Obviously, I can give them props for that, but
so
I will put Zelda for 50.
Okay, awesome. Put you in there. Sonny, you're up next.
So I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate 3 for 50 as well. My the only thing I want to sort of state that you already is I have a feeling people are going to not. I'm probably going to pick Baldur's Gate more than Tears of the Kingdom just because Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel. I don't know Baldur's Gate 3 is technically 3, but
yeah, that's a third one.
For all intents and purposes, it's basically a new one.
We've all played Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, obviously.
Yeah,
obviously.
All of us have. I will say, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think you know, as Breath of the Wild was obviously fairly recent, and it's very similar. And I think there isn't much similar to Baldur's Gate apart from maybe Divinity: Original Sin, which I don't think many people played.
Yeah.
Dedicated fan base.
True.
Right. I think the closest thing that people played was maybe like Pillars of Eternity, but even that wasn't very popular. No, it's weird. Like I want to just like anecdotally say, because I know it is just an anecdote, but like I have several IRL friends who are like the kind of people that play maybe 2 or 3 video games a year. You know, like I know a lot of people like that, and all of them have spent upwards of 100 hours on Baldur's Gate 3. Even people who have never played an RPG before. It is just like
how did it get on the radar? Like, did someone like you tell them about that, or
no? People just hear about it. No, just people hear about it. I mean, like
I don't know any gamers in my life that play it.
It's the Bear video that did it. You know.
Could be.
Oh,
Ever since that bear video came out,
Could be.
popularity for the game has absolutely exploded.
That's true. Yeah, that is possible. I think I'm just commenting on like how crazy it is that a game like this somehow managed to get like word of mouth like that, where people who don't really play games like even hear about it and buy it. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's really, I don't know. Just I also want to say that like as far as Baldur's Gate 3 not being a sequel, I think the real thing I would say to refute that, rather than pointing out the first two games, is that like everybody knows Dungeons and Dragons. Like that is a gigantic. It is one of the biggest IPs in the world.
Yeah.
Like it's not like this is a little.
People know what it is, but
Right, that's true.
not a lot of people have really any knowledge of how it works.
Oh,
How
and
it would translate into a video game.
yeah, and I even actually did a one-shot game 2 weeks ago with some friends that played Baldur's Gate 3 and were obsessed with it and had never played Dungeons and Dragons before, and they wanted to see what it was like. Which is so weird to me, like having people come in from that angle, but they all loved it, and they were like, this is just like a reference to Baldur's Gate 3, and I was like, no.
Well, I'll say, like, before I ever played Dungeons and Dragons, growing up with friends that played it, but I never really did, I had played CRPGs when I was younger. So, like,
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Neverwinter,
Planescape.
Torment,
Yeah.
Planescape Torment. Like, Planescape Torment's one of my all-time favorite games. So there is, like, that aspect of, oh, I've done a dice roll game, so I can do a dice roll real-life thing. KOTOR, I guess, is probably one that a lot of people played that weren't into the strict D&D fantasy style too.
yeah, true.
Okay, well let's keep moving. So, Adam, what are you thinking?
Baldur's Gate 3. I think if your game can be part of the conversation for as long as Baldur's Gate 3 seems to still be, I think that is going to go a long way when it comes to voting.
Okay.
It feels like all the other games, like Alan Wake 2 is great, of course, but it seems like the conversation surrounding it kind of has died out already, and same with like Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like a lot of people are talking about that, sadly.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2 really feels like the prestige game. Like if this was the Oscars, Alan Wake 2 would win the Oscar for Best Picture. Is kind of how I'm thinking about it.
Very possible.
I think some of that is just because it is so like stand out as a vibe, and it is, new.
Yeah.
And I think Sam Lake has a lot to do with that too, in terms of just like the public.
Yeah, people
still going on with that.
People who are like pay attention to the games industry, like know who he is, seen him a lot. He's a likable guy. He's enthusiastic about what he does.
Yeah, he's very open to being parts of shows and podcasts and things like that. Which really helps with Remedy games.
All right, so how much you putting down?
I'll do 50 as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm curious, have any of y'all ever seen a Baldur's Gate ad that wasn't associated with a gaming media?
With what?
With gaming media, like on a gaming website or.
Oh, I see what you mean. I don't ever see ads anywhere because I've taken many steps to block them out of my life.
Even like a billboard or a poster, anything.
I feel like as far as like physical ads in the real world, the main ones that I see are, you know what, let me say this actually, the gym I go to, there is a giant ad for Overwatch 2 still across the street from there.
Oh, wow.
Which is...
Just unplug my headset.
Which is bonkers. Okay. I feel like the last game that I saw, or maybe the only one this year I saw like physical ads for in the real world in the city around me was Starfield. Like... I don't know. Microsoft's got the money to do that, I don't think other people
had some
bother.
ads, big ads, especially like maybe it's more like a Metro City thing, Metropolitan.
Yeah.
Because like when I was in London, I saw ads for a number of games that I did not expect to see ads for, like in the tube and stuff.
No, that's true. Like I remember in the tube I saw an ad in London when I was there like 2 months ago. I saw an ad for Persona 5 Tactica. I was like, oh
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Sega has historically done a lot of that, though. They really push that like physical marketing thing.
True. I was just thinking, like, to counter your point that you have friends that played it. I honestly don't know if I would know that Baldur's Gate 3 was a thing if I wasn't kind of keyed into games discussion and on Discords and listening to podcasts, because I don't think I've ever been exposed to it in my life, even amongst my other gaming friends that play like COD and Fortnite and stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I was actually trying to look at the sales for Baldur's Gate the other day. Like, it looks like they've, like, just based on like estimates and then the last number they gave, it looks like they've probably hit about 15 million sales now.
I mean, that's
Which is
great.
probably the best selling CRPG ever. I mean, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe KOTOR would be up there, but other than that, like, which yeah. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the next category, which is game direction. This one I feel like, and I don't know if this is another one that feels like it's kind of obvious, but like I feel like this is gonna go to Alan Wake because it's like. First of all, this category is very hard to define, and I don't feel like the journalists and people who vote on it do like a good job of distinguishing it from Game of the Year. Even though I think the category could actually be distinguished from Game of the Year. It's like
different than the Oscars in a way.
No,
Yeah,
and a lot of people treat that Oscar, like the direction Oscar, as like the second place win for Best Picture. You know, like it's so to me, like Best Direction is like. This director had a very clear vision. They mapped it out and then they made it happen, and the vision came together. Like, for instance, like I think the one year that really stuck out to me was like 2021, which was when Deathloop won for Best Direction, and I was like, yes, that was the best directed game this year. There was a very, very detailed while holistic vision for this game. All the parts of this thing came together and they made that vision a reality. Like, I can see where that happened. Even if it wasn't the best game of the year. So, however, this year, I feel like this is the second place thing again, and it's going to be Alan Wake, because, like, people, again, know Sam Lake, and I think they want him to win an award. That's about it.
I think as a part of that, too, like, you know, not only does it sometimes feel like this is how you represent a game that isn't going to win the best game, but it is, you know, distinct. That, or you don't want to give them their props, but like some games are just more distinct visually and should have like more like a cohesive structure to it, or some other games are just like more impressive as a whole, or play better as a whole, or just like are a overall better video game. You know, like Zelda, I wouldn't say is like an optimally directed game in terms of a visual style. Like, it's cohesive visual style, obviously, and it has like some cutscenes and things, but so much of that is player driven and world driven that, like, I guess you could also say game direction is like how do you build your world, and how do you, like, you're directing the game to allow for the player to do whatever they want.
I can see that. Like, it's in that way, it's weird. It's almost like Tears of the Kingdom and Alan Wake 2 are the exact opposite kinds of games. Like, where you know,
is a curated story and the other one is like a player created
it's like
story.
we've perfectly created this sandbox for you to make your own gameplay, versus like we have tightly curated and crafted the story to make you have the best experience possible. And like I think just Alan Wake is I think that second one is more like what people are looking for when they're thinking about game direction. So I'm just gonna put in like a small amount on Alan Wake, like maybe 30 on this one.
Your comparison to Deathloop's actually kind of funny, because I feel like it's almost so a lot of us in game direction, I often think of like, do you identify a director like Kojima or Sam Lake or stuff? And it's kind of funny in 2021 that It Takes Two won Game of the Year, where you know Joseph Fares, and you know he's like the guy, but then Deathloop wins direction, but you don't know like anyone from Arcane unless you're a fan of who Arcane is.
Which I think after that people know who Dinga Bakaba is, like after he won that award. Like he's been on a lot of interviews, podcasts, he's been really active on social media like after Deathloop. But yeah, for sure. I get what you mean. Okay.
I guess
what are you thinking?
I also agree that Alan Wake will win this. I'm put 100 on it.
Ooh.
I'm pretty confident that we'll win. And honestly, I want it to win, so I'll put a few extra points on it. What are the other ones? I think Spider-Man. I do feel like Spider-Man's gonna get like not a lot out of this, which feels bad because it's a great video game.
Yeah, I also loved it, but I also on my prediction list don't have it winning anything. So,
I mean, I guess that happens when you're in one of the best.
Yeah, it's the year's too good. I mean, same thing for Starfield. Like, I mean, it is a great game. It just like this year, it just can't win anything. If it was last year, it would have probably won like 3 or 4 categories. Like,
just rough timing.
Yeah, just what it is. Okay, so how much you putting in for Alan Wake?
100.
Okay, powerful. Sonny, what do you think?
I could not think of enough to vote on something and put money, points, Todd coins down on it.
Okay.
I was thinking maybe Super Mario Wonder, just because, they just took it in a weird direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's distinct. Like, it's distinct even from Mario games, which is something that you would expect to be almost impossible today.
I did.
Considering how many hundreds of Mario games there are,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they can still come out with a game and be like, I would never have anything.
Yeah.
Doing that.
So I did look up the director for Mario Wonder, and he has been on the Mario team since Super Mario World.
The OG.
Yeah, he's been there for a very long. But
3?
yeah, no, he did 3 as well. You're right, since Super Mario Bros. 3, and then but he hasn't been the director on a game before. So
right, okay.
He's been a lead producer on many of these, but this is kind of his first time being a director.
Imagine being that guy.
Yeah.
You're I've made multiple of the best games.
Yeah. Nintendo is different from Western companies. They always promote from within when they need to set up new new blood to take over, But anyway.
I'm just always impressed when someone can have fresh, impressive ideas for 40 years straight.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing with the Zelda team with Aonuma, and that's the crazy thing is Aonuma has been running this franchise since Majora's Mask, and yet he tore apart his entire idea of what Zelda was for Breath of the Wild.
Everyone's idea.
Yeah, everyone's idea, but when you see something like that, you probably think wow, they got some new people in there to think up this. But it's no, this is the same team, man. They were ready to kill their baby and do something new.
And imagine that's a very difficult thing internally as well, to be right.
Mm-hmm.
This franchise everybody loves. I'm doing it completely different.
Yeah.
Right.
That's got to be a hard thing to really sell.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Adam, what are you thinking for direction?
Alan Wake 2 for a lot of the reasons you mentioned, Nirav.
Yeah.
I feel like Alan Wake 2 is, when you look at the list of games, I feel like Alan Wake 2 is the easiest to be oh yeah, that's a Remedy, that's a Sam Lake game. He is the central focus of this is his style, this is his vision clearly.
Right.
And for a category like direction, I feel like that's kind of the most important thing.
Cool. How much you want to put down?
The RCU, the Remedy Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll do 100 as well. I think I'm pretty confident in that.
Are all bets worth the same? I forgot. Are we doing just the double
we have,
half and everything?
Yeah,
else
we
is
have
the same?
we have a double and a half we rolled for over here. You can see on the side, but everything else is the
that's
same.
already been decided.
So that's what that is.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I didn't. Last time I think we did it afterwards.
Yeah, we did. We just rolled a dice this time, so we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smart.
All right. So
I will just say, I think just to add, I think the only I would not be surprised to see Legend of Zelda maybe win this.
Yeah, as a
mentioning
for a second place. We wanted this, but I also wouldn't be super shocked, but I think this idea of there's two completely opposite styles of game direction, and I think the one that people are more familiar with is the one that Alan Wake has mastered essentially, rather than
sure.
you know what I mean. So we'll see though. I'll be a little surprised, but I will be not super surprised if Zelda wins
would
instead.
honestly be the 5th in my choice from this category, and ones I think would win.
It's actually it might be worth picking up what the category descriptions are.
I also think with Zelda, I did say it's my second favorite game of the year, and I think it is a huge achievement of a video game. I would say from a direction standpoint, that was all there in Breath of the Wild. There wasn't a lot of new straight up direction.
That's also
outside of
not. Yeah, that's not untrue. Okay, so best
in the underground is kind of boring. In the grand scheme, it's a great idea.
I love the underground.
It's awesome, but you spend 20 plus hours there, and you're oh, I'm just kind of it's the same landscapes and a lot of the same stuff. And you find one or two really cool things, but it's a lot of same.
The idea is that you're supposed to break up the gameplay of the overworld with it, not just do it all at once.
I did not do that correctly.
It's like
I scored a lot of it in one go.
I saw someone pointing out in a review that I've never seen anything like the underground, because it's it's basically like there's half of the world that is in survival mode and half of it is not, and you can just kind of like climb into survival mode and then fly out of it whenever you feel like it, and it like works really seamlessly like that. It's fantastic.
Teleporting around makes things like way more palpable or functional, and
yeah, for sure. Like using the roots and everything.
Sure.
So the description for game direction is awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. With that description, I would definitely put Alan Wake above.
Like that crafting though in Tears of the Kingdom.
See the thing though is like if they list innovation in game direction as and design as one of their big things, and like Zelda already did that, you know what I mean? Like Breath of the Wild was the innovation in game direction and design.
We spent months on social media posting our tanks and our torture
That's true
chambers
though.
and
We did.
our shooting rocks over the sea, and
There were so many
like,
good creations.
I'm still like 100% all in on Alan Wake 2, but like I think if you make a sequel to a game a lot of people consider one of the best Zelda games of all time in Breath of the Wild, like if you make a sequel that people consider better than that, I think you're going to be considered. I think you're going to be part of the mix in any category that you're nominated for.
I agree.
So I think game direction it could win. I don't think it will. Like I said,
Right.
I think Alan Wake 2, but yeah.
All right, let's keep moving to narrative here.
I do want to say I have not really praised Alan Wake 2 a lot. I've been kind of skating around it. I love that video game. I love everything about it. I think it's like one of the coolest games I've ever played in my life, and I love Sam Lake and his vibe, and it pushes all the right buttons for me.
Yeah.
I think in terms of direction, like everything it's doing with the real world, the switching around between real world and game and everything. I just love it, and I think it deserves the win, and I also do want it to win.
Nice. All right, so for narrative, I feel like this category is like kind of too close for me to call. I could see this going to literally any of these, except maybe Final Fantasy. I feel like it's not going to end up there, just because people were kind of negative on it later in the year. But like, I would like assign equal odds to it going to the other four. So like, I'm not going to bet on this. I don't know, but I think Spider-Man 2 did have like a fantastic narrative, and like this is pretty much the only place I think it could win an award, but I also don't think it will. But anyway, that's what you say. David, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so having not played Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, or Final Fantasy 16, and really not much of Spider-Man either, I'm not on a solid footing here. I've heard a lot of great things about Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk, and I mean Spider-Man, like you kind of expect to be a Spider-Man game, but it's going to be good.
Yeah. So one thing I want to say for... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, Cyberpunk, I've heard a lot of positive praise about their narrative specifically, but Baldur's Gate to me just feels like the one that's going to come out as the winner because there are so many narrative options that kind of like no matter what you choose, you have a good narrative experience. I mean, there's maybe like a couple bad ones in there, but for the most part, like every player does different things and has, positive things to say about the story.
Yeah.
And that's not only just like one catered narrative, but it's like 100 narratives and they're all good.
For sure.
So I think Baldur's Gate will win, but I agree that this is a tough category to call. But I'll put Baldur's Gate for 25.
Okay, sure. So one thing that I want to say as I am the Spider-Man, like, which is to say that I am.
You are
I'm
very
like
low in thought.
I am. I'm a lifelong fan of Spider-Man. Like for every single piece of media of Spider-Man that's ever existed, I have consumed many times. And I will say I was really impressed with the story of Spider-Man 2 because it is completely and holistically original. There is not a single thing that happens in that story that has ever happened in any other iteration of Spider-Man. And I think that I think that what I saw kind of was that like other like big Spider-Man fans were appreciating the narrative more than like casual players, because it's like, wow, how clever that they did this instead of this that always happens, and they still made it work. And I said that like 100 times during the story. But again, I don't think that's going to reflect the opinion of the voting jury. So I would just make a comment though.
I mean, I really like the first Spider-Man a lot. I liked Miles Morales, so I'm expecting to love 2. It just, by saying
Yeah.
it's a Spider-Man game, I think
Oh, yeah.
people just kind of lump superhero stories in kind of like a group, and you say like it is expanding, but it's still doing a superhero story.
Yeah.
It's not like Into the Spider-Verse where it completely like overturned everything.
Right. All right, Sonny.
I am going to go with Baldur's Gate.
Oh.
Because kind of similar to what David was saying, is like it's one of those games where people are going, oh, in my playthrough, this happened, I did this happened. Oh, I never even went there. I didn't even know that was even an option.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it has so much of that. I mean, some of the times it's like, oh, my shepherd did this compared to this, and this one decision that
Yeah.
This is like there are numerous amounts of this. Like it's almost a guarantee that 2 people aren't going to have the same playthrough of this game. And the fact that people are doing reruns of this ridiculously long game is insane.
Yeah. I know several people who have done 3 or 4 runs of this game already. So.
Jeez.
It's insane.
No, this is a game that people have decided they're going to play for the rest of their lives. Like, it just out of nowhere. So, how much do you want to put down on this?
But I'll put 50 on that one as well.
All right, nice. Adam?
I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate 3 as well.
Okay.
I think just because when you got a game that's going to win Game of the Year, I think it's going to win categories like this. And I think it is a crapshoot of a category. I could see any of these games win. And I would not be surprised, really. It's already been said about Baldur's Gate. You have so many different narrative choices, narrative paths, and that kind of stuff is pretty impressive. So I think it will win, and I'll put 25 down on it.
I will say, like, a point in their favor, as you were saying, we think it's going to win the GOTY. It's a game that hinges on its narrative. The gameplay mechanics are not that special in the genre. Visual design is kind of expected in the genre.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes Baldur's Gate 3 so impressive is like all of the systems that are in that game, and all of it, like how it all functions together. I think is very impressive.
Yeah, and it's also important to remember, like, none of the mechanics in that game are like new or even created by the studio, and it's like And I think that's why, like, I was so impressed with, because I was very skeptical about Baldur's Gate as being somebody who's played D&D for many years continuously. But like, once I got into it, I was like, this is not a replacement for D&D in any way, but it is a weirdly good simulation of it. And at the same time, like, the thing that has gotten me to continue playing through it is the characters. Like, they are unbelievably interesting and very well written, and like that's kind of the thing that compels me, because like the mechanics, again, it's like, okay, like I see something that I wish I could do but I can't because it's a video game, and that happens every 10 minutes, and it's like, all right, this is fine. It's not a replacement for D&D. It is a very cool CRPG using those rules, but I think that's the thing that sticks out, and is just the characters they managed to create here. Like, everybody wants to fuck that vampire, By the way, fucking I hate him. He sucks.
Oh yeah.
Is that the guy in the bear commercial?
No.
Trailer?
Well, actually, no. He is in that. He is in it. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know the characters very
Jesus.
well. I'm assuming he's the one with the blonde hair that is in most of the marketing.
The whitish curly hair. Yeah. That he is kind of he's kind of the face of the game now.
Okay.
But sorry, Sonny, what were you saying?
I was saying, one thing I really like about, again, the narrative of this is like, depending on the character you've built or playing as if you didn't build one, is the sheer number of dialogue options you get that's unique to that character. And even reads on the situation. Again, we were playing it. One of my friends was playing a barbarian who was enraged. In the conversation options, he basically had a full-on rage option because he was in rage at the time the conversation had started.
Wow.
It's like, that's brilliant. Like, the fact
That's
that
good.
it builds that layer in. I mean, most of the time it's like, I'm an elf, or I'm a human, but this is going on so many levels. And it's not just once or twice, it's like almost every other conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure.
One of the funny things I find with this is all the positive praise that's been heaped on it is worth it, and obviously they spent years writing. But like, if you go back and play some of the notable CRPGs of the past, it's not like they weren't doing this already. There's a lot of them that have the really good ones that came before this. Even Fallout 1 and 2 that had like incredible amounts of options in the dialogue tree just based on like your stat and like your choice, the other dialogues you've done, or like what your current, like if you're drunk or not, all that.
I think there's also the fact to consider that this is possibly the first ever like big budget CRPG. Like this is like $100 million game.
Modern big budget.
Right, yeah, from a modern standpoint for sure. Like, $7 was a big budget back in the 90s, but like you know what I mean though, like this, and Kyle Bossman on his channel pointed this out in a way that I couldn't figure out how to word, but like it has big people in it and it changed my life. Like it makes such a huge difference, and it's so weird. It's just like, okay, well, the tiny people in like Pillars of Eternity feel like figurines I'm moving around a board.
Oh yeah.
And then this game feels like these are real people. So it makes a huge difference.
And it's also like fun to play.
Yeah.
Like that's a big aspect where a lot of old CRPGs are not very fun to play.
Yeah.
For sure. And I will say maybe a bit of a hot take, but like I think at its core, like the main through line story of Baldur's Gate 3, I don't think is the strongest of these like games. I think it might be one of the weaker games in terms of just like main through line story, but all of the creativity, all of the like options, all of the flexibility with that story that changes everybody's different experiences, like that's what makes that game, I think,
for
special,
sure. For sure.
From a narrative standpoint, for sure.
So I hate to rush us. We are 35 minutes in now, and we got to keep moving. All right, we got to go through these faster. So
I think we've covered most of the major discussion
that's
points
true.
on these big games, so
that's fair enough.
Do it again at least.
Absolutely.
So we are on to art direction. I also think this one's kind of a crapshoot. I could see Alan Wake winning this. I could see Mario Wonder winning this. I could certainly see Tears of the Kingdom winning this. Like, I am surprised Lies of P snuck in here, frankly. I don't think the art design is all that. Yeah, it's not really all that like fresh to me, but whatever. I'm not going to vote on this one, but I think that I feel like this is one that like I feel like people will be like, well, Mario Wonder is like new, maybe that's the thing, or like see the art design in Tears of the Kingdom is impeccable and everyone agrees, but like it is the same art design that we got already, and it's like
like it's mostly reused assets. Right,
it's hard to say if people will consider that or not, so I think Alan Wake 2 is probably the safest bet here, but I would not bet on them, so up to you, David.
Yeah, I don't know, like Tears of the Kingdom, like in terms of art direction, if we say like the underground, obviously from a visual perspective, not that interesting. The first few times you go there, really like intense and scary, and the darkness is really well handled. But like as you explore, you're like, oh, I get, the terrain here. It's all like kind of the same. But then you start to realize like this is literally the upside down of the above world, and it's like, does that count as art direction? Because I think it kind of does, and that's a really cool, thing that they did there.
Honestly, that feels more like intelligent game direction to me. Like how to manage the scope of such a gigantic game in an effective way. Like,
but it feels like, I mean, like that has aspects there where you're like the peaks are, the troughs, and the valley, the valleys are the peaks, and
it's really cool.
I don't know. I don't give it that point for that, but I could see how you would argue that. I think Hi-Fi Rush will probably win because it is the most distinct, but
it is distinct.
I do think that all of these have points in their favor. And as you said, Lies of P, it takes that bloodboard. Yeah, Lies of the P, and it takes that like.
Let me give you some advice.
Kinda, like,
drop the.
Moves it over a little bit. Yeah. I mean, Wonder. Everyone, obviously that was very clear on the surface, and same thing.
Let me read the description for this one real quick. So it says, for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. So that is interesting because if they're considering like how impressive are the animations and stuff, like it might be a little bit different too. So,
I'm gonna give it to Hi-Fi Rush, but I'm only gonna put 25 on it.
Okay.
I do want to look at some of the past winners and see how that shakes out.
It's not a bad idea. In the meantime,
Control won in 2019, and then it was like the only thing it got. So, I mean, hey, Alan.
Yeah. Sonny, what do you think?
Actually, I'm going to put points down for Hi-Fi Rush as well.
Okay.
I don't know if this really counts as art direction, but I just love that. I know that it's technically kind of part of music as well, but everything in the environment moves to the beat.
Yeah.
They've made the whole thing
Yeah.
play to this track, and like that's effort. That's a lot of work to do that. You know,
And
you don't just have a valve that's just going up and down, right? It's going up and down to the beat. And it's just like, that's great. I love that. You know,
How much you want to put down?
50.
All right, Adam.
We'll take a shot in the dark. Put 25 on Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Okay, nice.
I think a lot of the things David was saying earlier about, them changing the look and style of a Mario is like kind of unique.
Yeah.
Still, and I think it's gonna, separate it from everything else. Because besides that, I think anything could really win this category, like we've already said. So
Yeah.
And they basically had to create 2 maps. Like they have the regular map and then the Wonder map, and those are both very obviously distinct from each other.
Yeah. Also true.
yeah, it just feels like we haven't had a unique Mario game in a while from like a visual standpoint. So I think that could kind of help it in this category.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, I think the last like visually super unique Mario game was probably Sunshine, which was like a very long time ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for sure.
Last year, I think May kind of put like a sourness in people where, Elden Ring won. And I think Elden Ring was kind of the fan favorite across the board. But most people were arguing, like, was that really the best like art direction? Like, it felt like FromSoft in a big world. And it had a lot of great areas. Like, don't get me wrong. I love how distinct all the areas were. But that one, I feel like, is kind of...
To me, like, I feel like... And I wouldn't have voted for it, but I feel like the monster designs like evoked so much like wonderment in me that like I kind of understand the idea of like giving them the art direction thing. Like the creatures and demons that inhabit that land are like so, I don't know, whimsical, but also like they evoke like your imagination immediately when you see them. Like, what can this thing do? So
you can also look in any direction and see like, their own environments, but it does feel like a big FromSoft game,
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's the same thing that they do. It's not any different from Dark Souls or Sekiro or whatever in that respect. But
yeah, agreed.
All right, score and music. So, again, I feel like this is kind of a... I feel like this one actually is probably between Final Fantasy and Hi-Fi Rush. This one is definitely the only thing I think Final Fantasy might win. But... And Final Fantasy has never, ever skimped on the music. Like, we all know that. Like... No matter which composer is doing it, like they always have either the best or close to the best music of the year. I think that because Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm game, people might just gravitate towards that and ignore, because like even as a number one lover of Hi-Fi Rush, like the soundtrack is great, but I wouldn't have called it the best music of the year. Like it is great though. However, I don't know, what were you saying?
I think there's something to be said for the fact that you know the name of the composer for Final Fantasy 16. Like, you know his name. You know his name.
If you play 14.
Well, even then, but people have said it right. Enough people have played 14 and played this to know.
14 is popular enough, I think.
Fans are so
It's
huge now. And Soken is a great name. Like, how do you just not yell Soken at...
Well, this is it. So, and I think that plays a part in how I think a lot of people are going to vote. It's like,
yeah.
Right, it's Soken's music, right? Of course,
Right. But then there's like, I don't know, like a Hi-Fi Rush. You also remember one thing that happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. People got weird about it. Is that outstanding music inclusive of score, original songs, and or licensed soundtrack. So like, the effectiveness with which Hi-Fi Rush uses its licensed music is excellent. It is awesome. It is, so that has to be counted in there too. So like, I am again not going to vote on this because I feel like I'm going to give this like a 50-50 coin toss to Final Fantasy or Hi-Fi Rush. But David, what do you think?
I think Final Fantasy 16 is a lock. I'll put 75 on it. But I to give some props to the other one. So I think like Hi-Fi Rush, I think people will say this is high because it is a game designed around the audio. So that's like really the main reason. As you were saying, like in terms of what they're doing, like it's good audio, but it's not like incredibly, I don't know, like it's unique, but it's not, it feels like it kind of fits what they're going for. Whereas like Alan Wake 2, they wrote like all of those songs for the game. All of those like post-chapter songs, like all of the performance songs, like all the musical stings are perfect for like a horror game. Alan Wake 2 has some of the best like overall directed score of any game I've ever.
And that's why I think it's
life.
going to clean up for audio design, which is the next category.
And the Tears of the Kingdom, I mean, it has the twinkly pianos that Breath of the Wild did, so it kind of feels like more of the same. But
Yeah.
I love the Tears of the Kingdom music, so I'm gonna give it props.
Sure.
I think 16 though. Like
No, that sounds
Token
good.
is a beast, and the evolution of like fights and stuff, and how they used a lot of that. He's just
Yeah.
too good. So.
I also want to shout out, like, on Breath of the Wild, I think the weakest part of that game might have been the music, actually. Like, it was alright, but Zelda usually has fantastic, mind-blowing music, and when it's just alright, it's kind of like, ooh. But I think Tears of the Kingdom...
different.
I think Tears of the
Design
Kingdom
choice.
really stepped it up because, like, they did a lot of style mixing of, like, their old music with the new kind. Like, especially, like, the temples and the bosses, like, you can hear, like, a fusion of, like, the new, like, twinkly, like, whimsical piano music with, like, kind of the older, like, hard staccato stuff, like, from Ocarina of Time, you know? Like, I think that they vastly improved the music in Tears of the Kingdom from Breath of the Wild, is just all I'm saying.
We also didn't have to hear that Guardian theme like 100
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
times, which
That was
I did
my...
not enjoy.
That was my alarm on my phone for years. I just woke.
I like
Ah!
that song. Oh, and the first like 10 times you go to the underground and those French horns like that is one of the coolest moments.
Yeah.
When you're just diving into the underground. I love that every single time.
All right, Sonny, what are you thinking for music?
16. Final Fantasy 16.
All right, how much you want to put down?
150.
Whoa,
Ooh.
Fuck. Okay, I think I'm.
I should pop
I guess
my
I guess I'm the doubtful one here. Then I'm a doubting Thomas. Yeah.
Soundtrack is explosive.
The way I see it is more people are going to be putting Final Fantasy 16 music on their Spotify than they are Hi-Fi Rush music.
That is absolutely true. Yeah.
And it's a Final Fantasy game.
It is.
Exactly.
Okay, Adam.
Final Fantasy 16, I'm not as confident, so I'm only putting 50.
Okay.
But I'm also a bit biased. I just beat Final Fantasy 16 not too long ago.
Nice.
The soundtrack is, in my opinion, one of the best for Final Fantasy ever.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment.
So, I think it's really great. I just like you were saying, Nirav, it could go to Hi-Fi Rush. It really, really could. And that kind of toss-up makes me a little bit makes me want to bet a little bit less.
I feel and I think it's like if Hi-Fi Rush was not a rhythm game itself, like I wouldn't even be considering it in here for winning.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like I think people are probably gonna prop it up more than maybe it should be because of what kind of game it is for music.
Yeah, it is so audio
Right.
front faced, I guess is the right phrasing.
Yeah.
But it's so audio first that like it is a contender in just about any audio category.
Yeah. All right. So for the next category, audio design, I'm gonna actually just start reading these descriptions on the website too before we go. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design, which is not helpful. So this one to me, I've heard so much good stuff about how Alan Wake 2 does their audio stuff, but like, man, again, it's so hard to like. I don't know, like how. Are people just going to put Hi-Fi Rush in here anyway, right? It's like, it's hard to say. The whole game is designed around audio, and it's like, however, I am actually going to put a little bit of money. I'm not confident on Alan Wake. I'm putting 25 on it. I think that I've heard several people talk about how cleverly designed the audio is in Alan Wake. So, and I also want to give a shout out because like, I feel like one of the highest points on the reviews that about Armored Core was the audio design, and it's not on here.
The sound in Armored Core, peak gaming sound.
Yeah,
it is some of the best. Like Returnal, I could not shut up about Returnal the year that came out, and Armored Core is like neck and neck with Returnal for me. Like they're so just like perfect sound design. You could not design a game better in terms of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, so definitely a snub there, and also actually another snub I want to point out, like I'm very shocked and sad that Starfield didn't make it in for music. Like that soundtrack is like one of maybe in my like top 10 ever. I think
Bethesda always has great music in
they do. They've never missed on the music. Like, and then I think so I think maybe Kind of Funny was talking about this because they had the same thought, but like I think the thing they came up with was like Starfield has pretty incredible music, but it also doesn't sound distinct enough from Fallout's music, which I think is also true. Like almost every track in Starfield I could believe could like slide into a Fallout game. It is very like it's still Enon Zur, you know, it's the same composer who does the Fallout games, which is not surprising, but like I guess I can kind of see why it's not new enough. It is excellent, but it is also like not very new and different and distinct. So I kind of get that. Anyway, we'll keep moving on. So David, what do you think about audio design?
Well, so honestly, the two I'm leaning towards the most are Dead Space and Resident Evil 4.
Oh, okay.
Dead Space, though, obviously, like, heavily... Oh, I guess, really, both of those are heavily coming off of the original, though I don't think the original Resident Evil 4 had, like, great audio design, because it, you know, it was kind of a sign of its times. Like, it had a lot of those ambient grunts that you just hear everywhere, but, like...
Leon grunts heavily.
Well, they are just, like... they murder, like just like kind of the same like chants and grunts and everything everywhere. I do think 4 stepped up that audio design and directional audio design a lot more. Okay. It's a lot stronger of a game now. Dead Space as well is hinged on the atmosphere. It has to have good audio design, or it doesn't work. And it's perfect, like in terms of like horror audio design. But I don't know if enough people played it. And Resident Evil 4 is a remake, so I do think that and Hi-Fi Rush will get the nod here to give it something, and it is so integral to the game. Mm-hmm. And Alan Wake, I mean, I think Alan Wake is, you know, what they call like the decision trees, and so it's like as you're doing stuff, you know, it'll escalate or ramp up, or you know, different things will spawn or all that, and it's really good at it. But I'll put 25 on a Hi-Fi Rush. I'm not really confident on any of these, but I do think Hi-Fi Rush will get the nod.
Nice. Okay, Sonny, what are you thinking?
I'm not confident enough on any of these.
Yeah, fair enough.
I probably would have put my thing on Spider-Man just because, you know, the amount of times you are swinging, the noise never gets old.
It does not. That's true.
You know, and just the sound effects of everything that you're doing as Spider-Man, and even in the world, like with all the sensor pings and all this, that, and the other, like it's all just expertly woven in. I love it, but I just don't think it's enough. I'm not confident enough to put anything down for it.
Okay. And then Adam, what are you thinking?
We're doing 50 on Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
When you make an entire game where audio is the focus, like,
yeah,
I think it kind of has to win.
I also
from my
feel,
perspective.
You know what I'm thinking also is that, like, I think a lot of people, and I saw this from a lot of even journalists and stuff, like after the results came out, they were like, how the fuck did Hi-Fi Rush not make it in for Game of the Year? And I feel like, yeah, what, I mean, like, I also, well, that's a discussion for another day, but,
Absolutely.
but the thing I'm pointing out, I guess, is that, like, I feel like people might overcompensate for Hi-Fi Rush by trying to get it as many other awards as possible since it's not in for Game of the Year.
Also, there's like 8 other snubs, so it's like you can't really feel that bad.
Right, yeah, sure.
I also wonder if people are going to use it as the backup award for score and music, like game direction is the backup for Game of the Year, and just, you know, if they're giving it to
that's
for music,
interesting.
Hi-Fi Rush for audio design.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like if Hi-Fi Rush does not win one of the 2 audio categories, like, that will be kind of weird.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if that happens. Alright, so we're on to performance. This one I also kind of am lost on a little bit. I also want to shout out to my snub here, which I think Najee Jeter as Miles Morales actually gave the best performance of the year, not on this list. I think
Lake, easy.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's in the game, yeah.
Damn, like, snub.
But yeah, like, Najee Jeter, like, I think as Miles actually, like, outperformed Yuri Lowenthal in this game. I think I don't know, I think, and not that Yuri Lowenthal didn't do a good job, but, like, I think his whole Venom voice sucked, so, like, I did not ever get into it. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to him because he genuinely belongs on this list. I'm very sad he's not here. The other thing is that I think I'm uncertain about this one because I know Ben Starr is very popular. People love him. He did a great job, first of all, but also, like, very popular on social media. Like, he's very interactive with fans. I know we're never going to see the breakdown of the votes, but like I've no doubt he'll win almost every of the fan votes. But as far as actually winning this award, I'm going to give it to him because I think this is one of those categories that's going to come down to basically a tie almost, and that fan vote is going to make a difference. So I'm going to give him that award, but I think I could very easily see Neil Newbon, who is Asterion in Baldur's Gate 3, also taking this. Idris Elba for just being fucking Idris Elba. Cameron Monaghan does a fantastic work, and he not only the voice, but he also does the facial capture and motion capture for this character. He's a very, very talented actor. Like it could go a lot of places, but I think like I said, it's just going to come down to that 10% fan tiebreaker thing, and Ben Starr is going to come out on top. So
remind me how the public vote.
So the public vote is, so the juror vote counts for 90% of the total points, and then 10% of the points for each person come from the audience. So the reason that Geoff has said he does that is because he intends for the audience to be like the tiebreakers.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my reasoning here. I think this will be a close match, though. What do you think?
Yeah, like just looking back at past ones, the only one that I was really surprised with was Lady D. And
Right.
honestly, I feel like that almost comes out to the Ben Starr thing, where it's like I mean, Lady D was like a fine performance, but it wasn't anything stand out. But everyone knew who that was because it had all the marketing. Whereas
Right.
I feel like Ben Starr's really leveraged his position to create a popularity around his persona.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been good at it, like obviously. And I'm kind of Monahan goes on, like Funhouse and stuff, and I just don't know if he kind of pushes it as hard.
He's also on Shameless. Good show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he does actual acting as
Yeah,
well. So same thing with Idris Elba. Idris Elba's a funny one where it's like, as you said, he's like literally just doing an Idris Elba role. Like, I mean, Idris Elba's an amazing actor, one of
Right.
the best, but
It's
like,
just
he's
so
not
weird.
doing
Yeah.
much more than Stringer Bell or whatever.
It's like you have this like string of lifelong like voice actors or like TV actors, and then like an A-lister on here from Hollywood.
Yeah, like one of the best actors currently working. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and he plays it great, but I do think it'll be Ben Starr.
Okay. We'll put down some money on that.
Yeah, I'll give him 50.
Okay. Cool. Sonny?
Yeah, I think it'll be Ben Starr as well, for pretty much the same points as everyone else. I think Idris Elba is probably the only other one that could probably take it, just because, as you said, he is such a big name. But again, I wonder
Wouldn't
how
that be
many
kind of
people-
funny?
But I wonder how many
Like-
people actually went back to play the DLC and actually took that performance.
Yeah.
Saw it.
It's one of those things where it's like I could almost, I'm not saying people do it like this, but like I could almost believe that somebody would be like, well, I didn't get to play Phantom Liberty yet, but I love Idris Elba and all of his other
Yeah,
roles.
I
Like
know
I
who
know
that
he's a
is.
good actor. Like I can vote for him.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm going to go for Ben Starr for 50.
Okay. Cool.
I almost feel like that would be a little bit of a snide move for gamers to vote on like this A-list actor coming in and just taking the award in a video game, and that's like pretty much like Christopher Judge, like he owned that role, so and he wasn't like an A-list guy, so I think he deserved it. And the only other time that's ever like even come close to happening was Matt Mikkelsen with Death Stranding, and like he was like a very distinct and like
Right. He had a
iconic
very
presence.
integral role to that game. Like it wasn't like he was just there because he was like, like, oh, so we can flaunt, like we have Mads Mikkelsen in this thing. Like he's very into it.
Yeah.
He actually, I actually remember seeing that he asked to come back for the second game after he was finished filming his stuff.
Oh wow.
Dude, I thought I was working on a Kojima game. I don't know how I wouldn't want to come back for another one. He seems like Kojima's very artist focused.
Yeah, he is. Like, I don't think anybody, like, literally nobody has had a bad thing to say about working with him over the last 40 years except Konami executives. So that tells you probably all you need to know.
People that wanted to make money off of it.
Yeah.
In the corporate
Exactly.
world.
Okay, Adam.
Ben Starr. I'm going to put 25. 'cause
Okay.
This seems like kind of a crapshoot. But I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think separating yourself a bit from the category, from the game, is going to help you. It feels like the last two winners have kind of like separated themselves and become like a part of the conversation separate from their game.
Yeah.
And Benstar has been able to do that. Obviously, Neil Newbon has as well with Astarion, but there's the possibility that people don't play as Astarion or with Astarion. I think with Baldur's Gate 3, which is going to hurt him when it comes to voting. So I think Benstar ultimately is, and he's a great performance. Not to discredit and be like, oh, he's only going to win because he's popular and people like him, but it's definitely going to help him separate from all the other great performances as well.
Sure. I actually I do have Astarion in my party in Baldur's Gate, but only because he's a rogue, and because I picked wizard, my party composition as I have it is as literally good as it could get, which is me as a wizard, and then I have a rogue, a cleric, and a fighter with me. And that's pretty much an ideal party composition, so I'm not going to change this. So but if you yourself pick to be a rogue or a fighter or maybe even ranger or something, you maybe wouldn't want a rogue in your party. So it's
we didn't bring him in.
Yeah, for sure.
For that reason.
And he's great. He's a great performer. Obviously he's the breakout of Baldur's Gate. It seems like his character, which is going to help. But like I said, there's going to be people who don't use Astarion who aren't going to vote for him.
All right. So accessibility. I haven't explored a lot of these accessibility options. I know that Hi-Fi Rush got a lot of praise for having options for people who were hard of hearing so that they could actually play the game correctly and everything. So, I mean, if I had to bet on something, I would probably say Hi-Fi Rush, but I also don't I know Forza Motorsport also put in a ton of visual audio cues that are pretty unprecedented, I've heard. So I don't really know a lot about this stuff, and I didn't dig too deep into it, so I'm not going to vote on it though. David?
Feels like it's almost impossible to really make a call on this unless you're in that space.
Yeah.
Someone that is affected by a thing, and you firsthand experience how it's helping you. Because I can look on the outside and be like, oh, there's good colors and good audio or whatever. Street Fighter 6 feels like it's probably gonna get at least some talk because of the easy mode options and things that they integrated.
Oh, let me
that feels like that's kind of accessibility in a way.
Let me read the description here. So, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. So,
which, I mean, I do think that is a factor of the Street Fighter 6 game decisions, and most people, I would say, outside of the staunch hardcores, are in favor of that addition to Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
But as you said, I don't know enough about the category or what other things are doing to really say is that better than any of the others. So
yeah.
All
right.
I'm gonna put 25 on Street Fighter 6 just because that is where my gut is going, and it's a big name, but I can't really come up with an argument why.
All right, Sonny.
I'm in a similar boat. I can't really put any money down on any of these. I mean, I would have liked Hi-Fi Rush just because it's of the 3 games on this list that I did play, that's the one I actually used one of those features to make it a bit easier because I have no sense of rhythm. But the fact that you can make a rhythm game, and if you have no rhythm, still play it and win, it's still impressive. But no, I don't. Again, I don't
Did you feel like you enjoyed the experience
it felt like I had a sense of rhythm.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's I'm doing well.
I think
I must be all right.
The huge thing about that game that I think made it work, or one of the things that made it work so well, I mentioned this in the review too, it doesn't, and I think this is more games are kind of finding this philosophy, it doesn't punish you for doing badly, but it does reward you for doing well. And so
okay.
that I think is a huge factor in something like this, a high intensity action game. If you're getting those crazy combos because you can hit the rhythm perfectly every time, you are getting more feedback, bigger, crazier animations and moves and stuff like that. You're getting more reward in that way. But missing a beat doesn't make you take damage or get stunned or slow down in any way. You just keep going.
It's not like Guitar Hero where you're chink chonk.
Yeah,
chonk,
exactly.
It makes you feel bad immediately.
All right, games for impact. I was a little surprised by this category because I actually would have. I was kind of thinking. I played Harmony: Fall of Reverie earlier this year, actually for review.
Did I don't want it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm gonna vote for Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know why. 25.
Awesome. No explanation. Love it.
No,
In and out.
I'm all I'm gonna say is I'm glad that we are finally in a situation where this category is not like this game is going to win because it just has the most accessibility options.
A Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that we're finally at a position where like multiple games have top to bottom accessibility options, which is great.
Yeah. So yeah, for games for impact, I would have absolutely voted in Harmony Fall of Reverie here, which is the new game from Don't Nod this year. It was a visual novel with like a pretty insane branching conversation, like fate kind of tree that I've never seen in a video game before. But the reason I would have put it in here is because the game itself is about like colonialization of this small South American island nation, and then you being a native of there coming back home, finding your culture has been destroyed, and then basically like starting a revolution to literally destroy capitalism. So like it's actually a very well written story. I did some of the characters are a little bit boring, honestly. The protagonist is great though, and like you are also realizing that you, the player character, are a god while you do all of this. And so like you start controlling the fate of the world, even things outside of your own power, to try to, bring the world back together the way it was supposed to be. And it's actually an interesting story because it's a lesson in like omnipotence almost. Like for the last chapter of the game, you are an omnipotent god and you're like, oh great, I can fix everything. But everything that you do like turns against you in some way. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a lesson in the idea of like, there's no way to like automatically fix things like this. It takes many years and very, very hard work to turn around things like this. So that game really stuck out to me as one of the most like socially impactful narratives I've ever seen in a game. I'm really sad it didn't make it in here. That was my rant though. I don't really know which of these is going to win. I haven't played a single one of them. So David.
Yeah, I mean,
it's also worth bearing in mind this is the double scoring category as well.
Oh shit, you were right. You know what? I gotta put something in then. I am gonna say that Venba. I know that was really cool. I heard that was great from a lot of people, especially South Asian folks. I need to play that eventually, obviously, but I have not yet.
Is that where you're going, Venba?
I went and put in Venba. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I haven't played any of these though. I did play the Chances in Ardino. I have been following a little bit of the dialogue. It does seem like Venba's. It's an interesting one because like Space for Unbound was a kind of like semi-hyped game coming into the year from I forgot the culture, but it was like it's like South American, I think, game designer, and it was like a first-time game from them, and it turned out to be an actually like really good game and very personal to them. Chia was Macedonian?
Yeah,
I think, right?
so.
Yeah.
And that one is also like from the reviews I saw incredibly enriched in that culture.
Um,
And there's been a lot of positive.
Space for the Unbound was in Indonesia. It's from an Indonesian
okay,
developer.
sorry.
Yeah.
Indonesian. But I heard that one is also one that was really personal to the game developer, and a lot of cultural stuff in it is heavily like influenced by the culture and their upbringing. Chances in R, which is an interesting one because I really kind of just more saw it as a vibey puzzle game. I guess from when I was reading in comments, has quite a bit of impact there. I don't have enough to say. And Terra Nil, it was just like a terraforming game that I guess is nice.
So Terra Nil is cool, and I need to play that too. But it's a reverse city builder. You start with all these cities that have taken over the world, and like you are the Earth reclaiming the land. Up. Yeah, you're reclaiming and rehabilitating the land. So it is a very neat idea, and I really need to play it. But yeah,
I'm gonna give it to Chia because I think that one got the most marketing and was kind of anticipated going into the year. It also had very cool mechanics.
Yeah.
Not that Chances in Art didn't, but the mechanic of taking over a bunch of stuff and the music like just sitting and playing music on a location and being able to play with like a lot of different styles of like musical influence and whatnot. I think that one's gonna win. I'll since it's do we get double loss if we get it wrong?
Yes.
I'm gonna give it 50. Go. I'll go in.
Yeah.
So the category description is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social message or meaning.
Well, and Chia does have all of the environmental or the pro-environmental stuff in it as well.
Sure.
We're going into like
Oh,
the
yeah.
oil places and
I will-
trying to get rid of them.
I will definitely agree with you. Like, of these games, Chia definitely got the most marketing and it's probably going to be the most recognizable name. So, anyway, Sonny, what do you think?
I'm probably going to go Venba as well.
Okay.
I'll put it down for 30.
Having not really heard of it until this, gives me kind of Encanto vibes.
I was kind of following that game for like the last year or so. It is really cool, and like it is weirdly something that like I maybe can't appreciate as much because I'm second generation here, which disconnects me a little bit from it because it is about like a young Indian couple moving to Canada, I believe actually, but and then settling down and then basically their adjustment to trying to become Americans while still retaining their own culture and raising their son there.
That is pretty cool.
Or sorry, could become Canadians. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. It's very American focused. Yes.
Is it really cooking? Like, is the main gameplay cooking?
There's a lot of visual novel elements. Like you do simple stuff around the house, and you also like are interacting with people a lot, making a lot of decisions. But the gameplay parts of it are cooking. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody that I know who played it said it was great. We have our reviewer Shaz. He's also South Asian. He reviewed it and said it like really, really spoke to him and like felt like kind of perfect representation for like people from our part of the world. So I definitely need to get to it sometime. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good stuff about it. So
it seems like this is a pretty good category. Like
yeah.
I mean, Goodbye Volcano High is one I heard was kind of just fine, but all the other ones I've heard basically nothing but praise for in terms of at least their cultural aspects.
It's nice this category being more about culture rather than how much did it make me cry.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's
not Life is Strange 2 or whatever.
Right. So that's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, like I don't know. I agree. I think this is a good category for like representing underrepresented cultures in Western media, kind of a thing. So
like last year, As Dust Falls, I was just like, okay, come on.
I mean, I was like, yeah, that game was good, but like, I don't know, man.
It's fine.
It was a good strong 7. It was a powerful 7.
Yeah.
Adam, what's up with this one for you?
We're gonna go with Venba. I'll do 25 because I have played a couple of these games. I played Chia. I played Chances Sonar.
Okay.
But I feel like I haven't played enough of them to really have a good gauge as to the breakouts of this category. It feels like AAA games have kind of taken a lot of the conversation this year, so it's kind of hard to gauge how people feel about things like Goodbye Volcano High and Venba. But I feel like I've heard a lot about Venba.
Okay.
More so
How much do you want to put down
in this category? We'll just do 25 because
okay.
So not
a coward.
Looking back at the last 5 years, I don't think you could have predicted any of these winners. Like maybe Greece, but like I mean, like Life is Strange, I think is always one of those games where you're like, yeah, Life is Strange has a shot.
Yeah.
But like honestly, the noms in every last 5 years, I'm like, I could go to any of them, and I could get the argument.
Okay. Well, that means it's a good category then. I mean,
yeah.
All right. So ongoing games. I am slightly confident in this, but I mean, I think it's just this is the last and only year you can do this. It's Cyberpunk, like. I think that's just going to be it because people are like, I like it now. I want to vote for it as it is, as if it was Game of the Year this year.
It's so weird to have an ongoing game be just like a game that released and then had patches and expansion pack.
Yeah, we were discussing. Actually, let me pull up the thing again because we were discussing like what is an ongoing game, and this
it's like every game gets patches.
This
is just one that had more patches.
Jeff's definition of this does not help us narrow it down at all, by the way, but I will read it.
Shocking.
Which is, let's see here.
Evolves the player experience over time.
Yeah, outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. In that that could be
So
almost
we fixed it. So it didn't.
Yeah, so we also pointed out that like Cyberpunk went through a very long phase of development, but in January 2022, or when they released the 1.5 patch, that is when the game was fixed. So for the last like almost 2 years, they have been putting out new content and new features over like many patches and stuff like that. So it isn't just like we fixed the game. Like they have actually been working on it for a good long while as well, continuously adding new stuff.
And I guess it's worth representing like a released game versus like an MMO or an online shooter. Whereas like that's been dominant in this category forever. And so like having a game that's just like outside of No Man's Sky, that's just been kind of like increasing the quality of their game over a period of time. It's kind of nice to see that filtered in, I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder, is that really ongoing though, right? Because once you've finished
Well,
Cyberpunk, it's not ongoing. Like I finished Cyberpunk when it came out, I've
Right.
not gone back to it, you know. And
No,
that's the
it's a
thing,
good
all
point.
the other ones, people are playing this, ongoing, playing this, right? So it's just, I don't know. For me, giving to Cyberpunk seems a bit.
It is weird that it's in here, but I also understand why it is, and like
Agreed.
kind of makes me, I don't know. I do think it's still going to win regardless, because people are a little bit weird about it being in here. But I don't know, David, do you want to put any money down?
Well, so No Man's Sky did win
Mhm.
in 2019, so
It
I think
did.
that would be the closest comparison to this. Fortnite won twice, then No Man's Sky, then Final Fantasy 14 won twice. So, like, obviously, Fortnite and Final Fantasy 14, everyone knows them, everyone knows why they would win. But at the same time, it's like they're MMOs or online games, and like Fortnite, I think deserved the wins at the first, but now it's just kind of doing Fortnite stuff, and like maybe we're getting complacent with Fortnite iterating as much as they do, but it's
Yeah.
still just Fortnite. I wouldn't be that surprised if Cyberpunk gets the vote here, as something that is kind of an interesting, unique look into it. But I don't know. I don't know enough about what Genshin and Apex are doing, so I'm not going to vote.
Okay, cool. Sunny.
It's really difficult. I mean, I'm gonna put my sort of almost obligated to put Final Fantasy 14 down. Although I don't think they've done much this year, really.
That's what I was thinking, like, because they didn't
I
have
think
an
this is
expansion
actually
this
one
year.
of the least enthusiastic years, considering it's like kind of the after Endwalker and they're in the transition period.
Well, this is the problem, right? It's in an awkward position because it's kind of going in between two arcs. Now, granted, I'm an avid player. Like, I'm enjoying it.
Mhm.
It's still fun, but it is reeling kind of from that sort of post era of massive culmination, you know.
Yeah.
So it does feel a bit lackluster compared to anything else. You're not really building to anything. It's just like I'm on a break kind of thing at the moment. But I can't not vote for it. So because I feel I'm so attached.
Right.
But I'll put 25 down for 14.
Okay, cool. Adam.
I'm gonna do 50 on Cyberpunk.
Okay.
I think Cyberpunk is strange being here. Like you said, Nirav, though, I can see why it is here. And I think 2.0 for Cyberpunk is enough for it to win this category, especially since what it is going up against doesn't feel like it's done. Like, it doesn't feel like these games have done a whole lot this year to kind of outshine and separate itself from being like considered the best ongoing game.
Mhm.
And I think that'll help Cyberpunk in the end. So
Yeah, I think that's actually a good argument. Is the other ones are just kind of doing their thing, whereas Cyberpunk has
Yeah.
like noticeable points that you can say like they did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a good category for Cyberpunk to win in order for it to earn
recognized.
some praise for its ability to completely revamp the game.
Yeah.
Props to like a company sticking with their product when it wasn't initially received well.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more to go into about all of that. But
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, on the surface, it's good that I guess that they got it to
Right.
the game into a position that it's in now.
Okay. Community support. I don't know a lot about any of these games' community support this year, except that Destiny 2's was horrible. I don't know.
Destiny 2 is hilarious that it's on here, considering
Yeah.
they fired like
People just like
a
ran
lot
out of games. I know that Baldur's Gate 3 has had very consistent, very fast patches this year. People were always praising how fast they jump into action on these. So I'm going to put a little, just 25 on them. And Baldur's Gate 3, just don't forget, has been going in early access for 2 years now. So it's like, not like it just, came out and it just jumped out and then they've been patching it since it released. Like, they've been doing very continuous hard work on it for 2 years.
like giving it to Hades the year Hades came out. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
they've been working on.
Yeah, it was
They-
in early
I guess they
access. It makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is Act 3 like better now?
They added some extra options to it or something. I don't know much about it, but I know that they added some stuff to it that has made people like it more. I don't know the details though.
Because I would say like Cyberpunk does lean in my favor here, just because in the ongoing, it feels like that is very directly tied to community support
Yeah.
and that they're patching problems. But I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 it's not unlike that doing the same thing. But yeah, it does feel like kind of a different category. When one was in early access and then they just go out, it's like if you continue to patch after a full release, it's almost like they're just kind of continuing to do the operation that early access was doing in beta. Whereas Cyberpunk, I don't know. I mean, they're kind of conceptually the same, but it does feel like one means a little more than the other, maybe. So I'm gonna give Cyberpunk 25.
Okay. Sonny?
I'm a bit on sort of two sides on this one, but I think I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate as well, because
Okay.
again, they are just churning those changes out, and they're not like little changes; they're quite big changes. And it's just the frequency of it. I think we're on like hotfix 10 and patch 4 or something ridiculous, and it's like only just come out effectively. So the rate that is quite impressive. I'm going to put 50 down.
Okay. Yeah, one thing that I heard about Baldur's Gate is that the reason they can put so many changes out so quickly is because they have developed a system where they have 4 studios. Larian does now,
Wow.
and they actually cover 4 different parts of the world, and so they have people working on. They've developed a system to apparently smoothly pass a project from, all right, this team is done with their shift, pass it on to the other studio in the other part of the world. They'll keep working on it.
Wow.
And so yeah, that is
24-hour development.
yeah, no, this game has 24-hour development going on, and it has all year. Like,
Wow.
That's very impressive. As a developer, that is crazy impressive because I
Yeah.
hate other
It is,
people's
yeah.
code. So the fact that you can pick up someone's code and carry on with
Yes.
it is very impressive.
I've heard that is a huge deal. So that also is like one of those things where I think that it is massively difficult to direct something like that so that it works, but it does work. So Adam, did you want to put anything down?
Yeah, we'll do 25 on Baldur's Gate 3 because
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win Game of the Year. So I think it's one of those things where it just has to start winning categories, and categories like this, I feel like it could, people have kind of said
Right.
it's patch supported extensively since release, and it feels like they're having a fun time too. Like I've seen a lot of I know the narrator for Baldur's Gate 3 has put out a lot of YouTube videos of
Mhm.
outtakes and stuff like that. So it just seems like they've been having a good time showing off footage and getting things fixed. So
All
I
right.
think I actually want to switch to Baldur's Gate after hearing all.
Jesus. All right. You want to keep it at 25?
Yeah.
It's funny because Baldur's
Alright.
Gate, I wouldn't even say was
Well, then-
a rough game when it launched, right? That was a solid
No.
thing out of the game.
Even in early
Community
access, it
support
was
doesn't
still
mean it was bad. It's just like how.
no. I think again that's due to the fact that they were in early access for 2 years. Like when they actually launched it, like they had already ironed it out. So, all right, let's go to indie. I think that this is probably gonna go to Cocoon. Is my guess. I'm actually gonna put down 50 on it. Cocoon's also more recent. I mean, people have been waiting for kind of a spiritual follow-up to Inside and finally got it. This game was pretty loved. It was on Game Pass. Everybody who wanted to played it probably. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think that Dredge and Sea of Stars also have kind of an equal claim to this, but I think Cocoon is probably just going to edge them out and kind of be the standout here.
I know there's the conversation going on about Dave the Diver, obviously.
I don't want to have that conversation
on like what is indie. So that is.
I think that Dave the Diver's
aside,
not making it. Like, people are not going to want to vote for it now that they've seen the fucking enragement that this has caused on the internet. Like,
which is kind of funny because I think it's a great game that could deserve a nod here, but like.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it fulfills any of the like things we associate with being an indie game. Like,
I mean, their definition's pretty
except
rubbish,
just looking small.
yeah, like it's yeah, sorry. It's pixel art, which is why people are like, that's an indie game. So
Yeah, because their description is for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher's system.
which does not help us at all.
No.
Additional. Yeah, like what do you... Okay. So I kind of hope Dredge gets it, just because I think Dredge is
Dredge is
a cool
absolutely the
game
best one on here. Shh.
And like I've always liked Team 17 just from like Worms days. So the fact that team, I don't know who in the Worms era was doing this game, but it feels like kind of a left turn for Team 17, and came out at like it's a really cool game, and it's very unique and fairly simple in design, but it does a great job.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll give Dredge 25 just to give him a nod. I do think, honestly, like Sea and Stars in terms of just production value and overall quality, it seems like it would be higher than Dredge, but I think Dredge has that like indie feel to it. Like, if you think of indie games, like Dredge is just like, oh yeah, Dredge is an indie game.
Yeah, let me just pull up the scores real quickly for those two. I want to double check. So Dredge got an 82, and let's see. Oops, that's not right. Sea of Stars.
I feel like the best indie game should have an 8.
Yeah, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars got an 89 actually, which is a lot higher than I remembered. So,
Sea of Stars has also been kind of hyped for the last year.
It's been very hyped for sure. Like, that was definitely on people's radar. So yeah, Sonny, I know you were a fan of that game, right?
I'm a huge fan of that game. Yes.
Oh, I mean, I've loved everything I've seen about it. It doesn't feel indie to me. Whereas, I don't know how people vote on this category. That's not
right.
How do people vote? Whereas Dredge like embodies indie.
Yeah,
the whole like vibe of indie to me.
I agree. Sonny, what do you think?
So, I mean, obviously I'm going to say because of how amazing it is. I mean, and a lot of people got their hands on it because it was obviously just a Game Pass, but it was also on PS Plus.
Yeah.
Day one as well. And it's just a fantastic piece. I don't know who the developer of this is. But,
it is the same studio that did The Messenger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which that one definitely felt indie, right? And then this is like a complete like left turn for them.
This was a like
design style
financed game, like you can tell. Like,
there's budget.
Yeah.
It was just so fun to play. I mean, I love these kind of things. Like, it's a bit like Chained Echoes in that sense as well. It's like that same sort of just old school RPG that people love and don't get enough of these days. So I'm going to go for Sea of Stars for 50.
Okay, nice. Adam?
Cocoon. The problem with Cocoon is I think some people would just put off with it, with the whole... As soon as someone went out of a planet and then picked the planet up, I think turned a lot of people off.
Which sounds amazing to me. Like, that just has like one paper. Sounds like one of the best things ever.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Adam, what are you thinking?
I think Sea of Stars. I'll put 25 though. I think Dave the Diver's indie status is gonna hurt it, and I think Sea of Stars past that has kind of done enough to separate itself from the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
And seems to have a lot of like this game deserves to win something type feel. And I think that category is this one.
Okay. Cool. So for debut indie, I'm a little between stuff on this. Like, I actually think this is where Dredge might win. I'm gonna put it in here for 25. Dredge, I just want to mention, is one of my favorite indie games ever. Like, it blew me away.
Oh wow.
And I just did the DLC the other day. Actually, we got a review code for it, which is cool. Thank you guys at Team 17. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's sponsored by Team 17.
Yes. No, this game completely blew me away. It's just like pure Nirav core aesthetic I didn't know I wanted, so very much surprised me. I did not think I was going to fall in love with it. However, I also know that like among the things that are in for debut, I think that Cocoon might not get this vote because people will be like, well, that's the people who did Inside. That's not really a debut game. So that's kind of my only thought.
Slash Annapurna Interactive, and it's like, Annapurna,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. So that's just kind of my thought. I mean, I will not be super surprised if any of these just randomly win, but yeah, I don't know. David, what do you think?
Well, like with Cocoon, is it just like all the people went to it and created a new studio, and is that why it's considered debut?
Yes,
studio, right?
it is a new studio. It is the same lead designer from who did Limbo and Inside, and he and his partner, I can't remember their names at the moment, basically split off and made different studios because they could not come to creative agreement with each other. And so one of the games we got was Somerville, which came out, and then Cocoon is the other one. So I think
see that one.
Yeah.
That's hard to really say like debut, right? Because it feels like you want to identify new people to the game. Whereas I guess Team 17 is not new to the game, but Black Salt Games is new, maybe. I don't know. It's always so hard to say with these. Like, who really in there is new and who's had like years and years of history.
So like Neon White was also in for debut last year, despite like the lead developer being like well known and coming from another studio, but like this studio he created for this game was new. So like
you almost think it should be changed from like, and rather than a new independent studio, probably a sort of a debut for the director or something. Like actually, it's rather than the studio itself.
It's hard to say, like, because like I know what they're trying to get at here, but I can't really put it into words.
Yeah, like you would hope it was to recognize like people
like fresh upcoming talent. Yes,
yeah, to like give them highlights.
They're not fresh upcoming talent because they've done this for like 25 years.
Right.
It's hard to get to this level and not have experience.
Well, and then there's those like super studios of like there's the folks that like that game Nightingale that is made up of dozens of ex-BioWare developers that all worked together for like the last 40 years. Like that's a debut independent studio when they put that game out. And then there's the other one whose name I'm forgetting, the one from all the ex-Bethesda developers that like went together and made their new studio. It happens a lot, and like especially over here in the West, like I don't really know how to. I think they just need to be a little more specific about this category, but I get what they're trying to get at. Anyway, did you want to put money down, David?
I'm gonna stick with Dredge and give it another 25 here.
Okay. Sonny.
I'm gonna go with Viewfinder.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's so different. You know,
it's
so strange.
Yeah.
It's like when you look at the game and
great
the
design.
game in motion, and it's like, how? That's almost same sort of mind-breaking as Cocoon kind of is, but I think a little bit easier to digest for a person. So I'm going to go with Viewfinder for 25.
All right, nice work. Yeah, I won't be super surprised if any of these things win. Adam?
I'm going to go with my niche gut and say that Pizza Tower is going to win this one.
All right. How much you want to put?
I'm going to put 25 because there's a lot of good competition in this category for sure. You go any way.
All of these games were really beloved, so it's whatever it is, you know.
For me, it just feels like Pizza Tower has kind of still been part of the conversation. At least some of the podcasts and shows that I watch still seem to be talking about it around this time. And that kind of lasting power could help. So hopefully,
we'll see.
That is what happens.
All right.
I wish there were more categories like this. Maybe not like this, but that bring out games like this.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the AAA games, and we don't need to talk about like is Spider-Man 2 better than Final Fantasy 16? Like they're made by established people that are making amazing video games.
Yeah.
I like these smaller ones that really highlight stuff that people may not know much about.
Right.
But again, it's coming back down to this whole what is an indie game thing, right? I think this is their best attempt at doing that, but it's really difficult to like, what do you class as like new or under the radar stuff?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe not indie, but like some way of defining like small game category. Like how would I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah.
But
All right, so we'll move on to mobile. I'm not going to put anything down. I think Honkai Star Rail's probably just going to win for sake of being a real video game. That's pretty much all I got.
I think WoW Rumble really got snubbed here in my mind because that's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, I've heard that was good. Actually, you guys can keep talking. I'm going to the bathroom, but yeah, I heard that was a good one.
I've
Hello
been
the
playing
Hello Kitty
WoW Rumble
one.
and I like it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, because Hello Kitty, the fact that Hello Kitty kind of, I know it's a massive franchise, but that it won over WoW Rumble. Unless there's a weird time thing. I don't
WoW
know.
Rumble did come out like 2 weeks before the cutoff, so I think that's probably the
Okay.
biggest issue. There was a couple that got potentially snubbed, and not in the mobile, but in the entire voting scheme that came out within a month. Like Talos Principle 2, I feel like should have gotten acknowledged somewhere, but didn't because it came out too close, and the puzzle games are niche. But
this
Talos Principle 2 is a 10. So.
Yeah.
I'll be
It had to
completely
released.
honest. I'll be completely honest. Looking at this category and what is nominated in this category, this is the first time I'm seeing any of the nominations for this category.
I didn't know Terra Nil had a mobile thing.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, I've heard of Ever Crisis because it's part of the media around Final Fantasy VII, but I didn't have any interest there.
I'm actually playing.
Honkai.
That's one I've played. I played every day. Liver Crisis.
Is it
really?
good though?
It's good. I mean, it follows the same sort of trappings of your gacha system. The
Okay.
only difference is, that like most gacha games, the gacha is on characters, but that's not the case here. It's all the gacha elements on like weapons and sort of.
So it's
outfits.
kind of like Kingdom Hearts Unchained, where you would get like the things that you would attach onto your weapons.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's kind of what it is, and it follows again the same sort of old story. So it follows the original 7, although the sort of remake.
Is it new story?
No, so it's following sort of the remake story. That's how
Right,
it's
okay.
about it, and it's got a bit of Crisis Core in there, and this other one which is First Soldier, which is following a new story that I've never heard of.
So
But it's not everything though, and this is the thing I think is going to hold it back. Is like you're only playing up to 7, I think, up to basically the end of the remake, and even Crisis Core, which is obviously a finished game, it barely breaks into that like at all.
right.
So it's just a bit odd.
Okay, let's we gotta pick it up a little bit more. So does anyone want to put anything down on mobile? I just want to ask.
I'll do
Well,
25 on Honkai.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put 25 on Honkai as well.
I feel like that's safe bet. Yeah, Honkai 25. Because I mean,
Adam,
Genshin,
did you say that too, or
etc.
Yeah, we'll do 25 on Honkai.
okay?
That category as well.
Well, yeah, I guess this category will be useless if I also do that. So whatever, I'll leave it. Okay, so VR AR happened to be our half point, which is nice because I don't know any of this crap.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure GT7's a lock. Honestly, like it's just so good. It is
Yeah,
amazing.
I've heard that it works very
The other
well.
ones are-
I just I don't know. I loved Humanity, and I really wanted it to win something. I'm very sad it didn't appear anywhere
Sure.
else. That's all I'll say. But yeah, do you want to put money down on Gran Turismo?
It always feels weird to bet on a halfer, especially any amount, because I think, like, I played Resident Evil 4 all the way through, and I imagine RE Village is at least as good as Resident Evil 4 was in VR, and Resident Evil 4 in VR was amazing, so RE Village in VR is probably amazing,
Yeah.
but GT7 is pretty incredible, so I think giving it to halfer, I'll do 50, whatever.
Oh, you know what? I gotta think about that because I didn't really think about the fact that like having it be like a half thing and like be like, well, I don't want to vote on this, so we should have probably done it afterwards, but it's okay. We can do. I don't know if you want to do that, Sonny. Is just like re-roll it after we're done voting now because I think it's more interesting if we don't know which ones are which.
Yeah, we
Sure.
can do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I'll take those off so that we can add it after.
Cool. All right then. What do you want to do? Do you want to bet anything for VR AR?
Yeah, I was going to pick the Horizon one.
Okay.
Just because of I don't know about Synapse. I think that's a VR specific one, but
Mhm.
the other sort of I don't know what we're looking anyway. But from the other sort of contenders, like they're added bits, they're VR modes of other games. whereas like Horizon Call of the Mountain is a game.
Yeah, it's a full like AAA scale game for VR. So yeah, for sure. Okay.
I just felt like it didn't do a lot with the genre. That was my only thing. Like, it was a launch game, it looked great, but outside of looking great, I don't feel like it did a lot. Which I guess you could say the same about GT7.
Yeah.
But
how much do you want to put down?
25.
Okay. Adam?
I'll do 25 on Resident Evil.
Okay.
Just because it's Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And
RE4 was so good, I can definitely believe that happened.
Those games in VR are just amazing.
Yeah.
It's like they're made for VR.
Okay, for action. Crazy category, but I think I am going to put down Hi-Fi Rush. I think this is its thing to lose. I mean, the only thing I think... It's going to be between Hi-Fi Rush or Armored Core. And I really only think Armored Core might win because people will be mad it didn't get in anywhere else when it probably should have. However, I think Hi-Fi Rush kind of has this like lockdown, like this is like pure, unadulterated, fun action combat. Like, I'm going to put down 75 on Hi-Fi Rush.
Everyone's favorite action versus action adventure conversation.
Yes.
If Armored Core does not win this, I will riot because it is better than almost any other game this year. It's one of the best action games I've ever played. It is impeccably designed action. It is almost perfect in terms of video game design. There's not a lot I could say as a negative to this video game.
Okay.
So Armored Core, 100.
Okay. Awesome. Gets a little
It's also my
contention
favorite
here.
game this year, so I need to give it points.
Nice. Same. All right. Sonny?
Yeah, I mean, the action category is basically the FromSoft category. Like, if a FromSoft game is in this category, it wins by default. So, I'm putting down Armored Core as well.
Okay.
So I'll put 50 down.
Okay. Adam?
I'm going to do 75 for Armored Core.
All right.
I think with just how good games have been this year, I think you're going to see a lot of like this kind of stuff where like games get at least one category to win, and I think this is going to be Armored Core's game to win and get praised and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Action adventure. I feel like I really want Zelda to win this, like, even because I know it's not going to win Game of the Year. Like, I'm just going to put in some good energy into the universe and put 50 on Zelda. Because I think it deserves it, but I don't know. David?
Yeah, this one's a weird one. Like how
would I, like, I don't know, like how would I compare my experience with Alan Wake 2 to Spider-Man 2? Like, I don't know.
I mean, like Alan Wake 2 is the least like action-y or adventure-y game that I could think of, and it's like it's a very linear story. It's like, you know, there's action, but it's not like.
So let me I'll pull up their definition again here. Action adventure is for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving.
Right. So I guess it has puzzle solving, traversal. You walk places. I can kind of, I kind of see Resident Evil getting this as a nodder, but also I can see your point with Tears. So I'm gonna say Zelda as well.
Okay, how much?
I'm kind of running out of points, aren't I? I'll do 25.
Okay. All right, Sunny.
I couldn't figure out which way to go with this, so not enough to put points down, so I'm going to skip it.
Okay, Adam.
We're gonna do Tears of the Kingdom for 50. I think this Tears has to win something.
Yeah, right.
I feel like it might not, and I feel like it might not.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Oh, also, while we're talking about points, like, I was gonna this year just have us put the points down on just this thing, and then just like have us make our wild ones and not really bet on them just for fun. So I would, so use all your points here.
We can talk about it before we go into that section, but I agree. But yeah, I think Tears of the Kingdom, it has to win something.
Yeah.
So why not action adventure?
So why not?
Yeah.
RPG is like boring as fuck. Whatever. I'm not even interested in this category anymore. Like
Liza P.
Yeah, Liza P. Put it in for 300 points. I'm just gonna get some fucking free points off of this one, and why don't you try to stop me?
Oh, Starfield.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm putting down Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, I haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3, but I definitely liked Starfield more than it this year, which is, I know it's not gonna win anything, but it is what it is. David, what do you think?
Yeah, I honestly, I would hope that Sea of Stars could get some acknowledgement here. So I feel like it's the best like curated RPG of the bunch, but given role playing game as like a thing is very D&D, and that Baldur's Gate 3 is D&D, I kind of think it's more or less locked to win this category, and it does it well. I mean, that's a big part of it. It excels in the role playing aspect. That's
right.
Like its best factor.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I would like to match your bet, but that would hurt. I would
It would decimate my finances.
Yeah, I'm running low here.
Yeah. In this economy,
I'll do a 50 spot. I like to bet on all of them. Is the problem? I don't like to leave too many gaps.
Okay. Sonny, what are you thinking?
On Baldur's Gate for 100. Like that's
yeah.
the same reason. I mean, I could sit here gushing about Baldur's Gate for a long time, so I won't.
Yeah. Okay. Adam.
Baldur's Gate 3, 100. Like, it's a Game of the Year contender. It has to win this category.
Yeah. Right. This is why again just want to point out, like, I don't love the genre categories, and that's why we don't do them at the Lusties, the GameLuster Awards. So make sure to keep an eye on those.
If I bump mine to 100, should we just cross this one out?
If you want to, we could. I mean, we would just cross it out if you want to.
We could redistribute those points elsewhere, since we're all like lockstep with this one.
I mean, if you want to, yeah, I wouldn't mind using these coins elsewhere. So I don't know, up to you.
Would that make it more interesting for others?
I need to figure out where I'm going to put my other 100. But yeah, I'm good.
Sure.
I didn't pre-allocate anything, so that's why I'm
all right.
stressing.
All right, let's do that. We'll use these elsewhere. How about... a second.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just remove these here.
How about if it's not Baldur's Gate, we all lose 100 points?
Shh. Well, if we all lose 100 points, then nobody's lost any points.
True.
Okay, so
just makes us feel worse.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so for fighting game, obviously it's going to be Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I think that in terms of critics voting, I think they're probably going to go with Street Fighter. I think if this was a wide audience vote only, it would definitely be Mortal Kombat, just because it's a much more popular franchise. But I'm good putting in 50 for Street Fighter for this.
I feel like we're gonna kind of start hitting the same mindset where a lot of these are gonna be the same.
Well, yeah, if as long as we
for 50 as well.
Yeah, it's okay as long as we put don't all put the same number down.
Street Fighter is an impeccable fighting
Fine,
game.
I'll put in 100. I'm putting in 100 on Street Fighter. Fuck it. I have money. I got money to burn. You really want to go to? Okay. Sonny, what do you think?
I was going to do Street Fighter for 50 as well.
Okay.
But again, I'll keep it interesting. I'll put 75 in.
Okay, cool. Adam?
I'm doing Street Fighter, but I'm only doing 25 because I still think Mortal Kombat has a very strong chance to win.
Interesting.
Street Fighter 6 is just so good.
I feel like, especially with all the memes from the story mode and everything, people will remember Street Fighter more strongly than Mortal Kombat, in a few years from now.
Those body proportions.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Jesus,
Everybody's so thick. It's
thick as hell.
Ridiculous.
When the Evo intro for Street Fighter 6 was one of an all-time great Evo moments.
Yeah. All right. So for family, I did go to the Game Awards website and I did vote for Party Animals because that game is hilarious. But I think that's obviously going to be Mario Wonder, and I'm actually putting in 100 on that. I don't think there's any
category
competition.
Is always. Well, I haven't researched it.
Yeah, it's I love
Nintendo's category not to win.
Yeah, right. I love this category because I'm looking at Pikmin 4, and I'm I'm sure my child would love playing Pikmin 4. This fucking overhead RTS game where you're commanding hundreds of troops at the same time. What the hell? That is not a game for children, man. Anyway.
Depends on the child.
I guess that's true.
My kids especially would be it's a bit sadistic and would love throwing Pikmin at a wall.
Jeez.
Die,
yeah, so David, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Mario.
Yeah.
50.
50? Alright. Weak sauce.
Well, sorry, 100?
No, please. Sunday.
Shame my bet.
I'm going for Mario for 50 as well.
Okay.
Only 50?
Yeah, for now.
Gotta save your coins up. Yeah. Adam.
I mean, same Mario 50.
All right.
It's the Nintendo category. Like,
Yeah. Sure.
So they went 3 of the last 5. The other
So-
one was It Takes 2, which was, I know,
Insane.
contested.
I would actually contend that
Overcooked.
this year is better than ever because there are 2 games here that I would strongly recommend that like parents and kids can actually play together, which are Mario and Disney Illusion Island. So like,
yeah, I was gonna say if this wasn't the Nintendo category, I feel like Disney Illusion Island could have a better shot.
I think if people were actually serious about like what game would I best play with my family, like they
Yeah,
would actually pick
100%.
Disney. But like, that's not what people think when they do this. So.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, like Sonic isn't a bad family game.
No,
I
it's
don't know,
not.
like,
It's
I've
a
done it in
4-person
multiplayer.
It's a 4-person
but, like,
co-op
as a
local.
kid,
Yeah.
Kids love Sonic.
Yeah. No, I think
When
these
I was a
are.
kid, like
I think
Sonic.
this is mostly a suite of better picks than previous years. So, then for Sim Strategy, I'm going all in, putting down 100 on Pikmin. I've been saving. I think that one's kind of a locked in. I don't really think there's much competition for it.
I mean, yeah, that's another one. I think Advanced Warfare is really the only one here that would compete because City Skylines and Company of Heroes just kind of released in a bad state.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge knock on
Like-
games that are like okay games. They just shouldn't
It's
have
just-
came out when they did.
For sure. And I also don't think that like people remember Fire Emblem came out this year. Like
yeah,
that was it's so crazy how gigantic Three Houses was, and then this one is just like a complete nothing. Like it just faded
Is
out
it-
of existence after a week.
I feel like Three Houses was kind of a new take on a lot of it, whereas
Yeah.
Engage didn't really do it.
Engage was like back to the old style kind of thing, and I think
itself.
I don't know. I think people have like voted with their wallets and kind of confirmed they want more Three Houses style games rather than like the old style ones. So, anyway,
My maybe prediction is that City Skylines 2 comes back next year as best ongoing game.
oh my
Or
god,
best community support. one or the
community
other.
support, yeah. All right, do you want to put in
Uh,
anything for this one?
Pikmin. What am I at? Sorry, I keep switching the tabs.
You got 200 left.
50.
All right.
You're gonna win. You can beat us on these
I was just waiting,
last three
dude.
categories.
Yeah. Sonny?
I'll do Pikmin for 45.
Ooh, 45, a new number. All right.
But yeah,
45.
yeah, because I think Fire Emblem, because they were sort of rehashing the old people again, you know. The
Yeah.
old Fire Emblem, just bring Marth and all these people back in again, you know, because
Right.
you have to.
Pikmin's also probably the best game of the 5 of them.
It is.
too.
Like Pikmin. Yeah, I will say Pikmin 4. While I don't think it was as good as 3, is still like a fucking fantastic game. I spent 50 hours on it, and I 100%ed it, which I don't do often. So, it is. By the way, also this is really a weird thing to say about a game that I'm claiming is very good, but the campaign is like definitely the weakest part of this game.
Oh,
Yeah, like, but the thing about Pikmin is that those games, like, the campaign is like maybe a fourth or a third of the content in it. Like, they're very like tons of modes kind of games. So like Olimar's Story was like a perfect 10 out of 10. There was a second campaign that you unlock after finishing the first one. Fucking goddamn perfect. It's only like 5 hours long, but it was like perfect.
interesting.
Anyway, so yeah, the Pikmin games are weird because they are, like I said, the campaign is one small part of the whole package for those games. All right, Adam.
We'll do Pikmin 4 for let's go with 100.
Yeah,
I think
baby.
it's gonna win. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the best game of this category without question.
right. I think it honestly even may have been one of the games floating around for that last spot for Game of the Year. To be honest, like, I didn't ever think it was going to make it in there, but like again, a different year, I think Pikmin 4 would have ended up in Game of the Year for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so sports racing. I mean, it's Forza probably, right? Like, I'm not going to put any money on this. Like, I'm actually voting. I voted for Hot Wheels too because I think Hot Wheels are neat. But
I also voted for Hot Wheels too.
yeah. Also, shout out to my brother Nikhil. He works at Hot Wheels, so we are supporting you.
Hey,
It's a pretty good game, honestly. Like it's really
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
I played the second one, but I played the first one with my son quite a lot.
I heard it was good. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
Second one's better.
That's
Yeah.
actually a better family game.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I think that would be a better pick for that than like Pikmin. Okay, so anyone, David, you want to put in for sports racing?
I mean, I haven't played any of these. I watched the
Yeah.
stream of Hot Wheels, and that's it. So I would guess Forza wins just because it's the name everyone knows.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to vote on something I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge of.
All right, Sonny.
I'm gonna do Forza for 25.
Okay, Forza. Yeah, I heard that like Forza had like some launch issues like with the online and everything, so I don't know if that gives an edge to Hot Wheels or something, but I don't know. Adam?
Forza 25. It's the weakest year for Forza, it seems like, this year. So I'm not too confident.
Yeah, it didn't
Hot
really
Wheels
make this. Sorry?
I was just going to say, I feel like Hot Wheels or even the Crew could maybe win this.
Dude, I had no idea the
of the
Crew
weak
even
online.
released a game this year until I was looking at the nominees.
Yeah, like, it seemed to get decent reviews, but I fear it. A whole lot of people may not know it came out.
Yeah. Okay, so multiplayer is a weird category again. Like, let me pull up the definition again.
Has more than one player.
Yeah, games for people. Let's see, multiplayer. Outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. That is
All
not.
5 of these games are completely different video games.
There's so if I'm somebody who's sitting here trying to compare the online experience of playing these games, I am like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I don't know what I'm talking about here. Street Fighter, maybe? Like,
Have any of y'all tried the Baldur's Gate 3 co-op at all?
I have
It's
not.
the only way it's the only way I've played it.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Oh, is it? All right, I'm gonna give it to
It's
Baldur's
phenomenal.
Gate then. Whatever, good enough for me. 50 in on that. All right, David.
I mean, it's kind of dumb to give like a fighting game. Like, you have one fighting game on your list of multiplayer games. It's like, well, you don't have like fighting games are multiplayer games. That's just like in essence what they are. Whereas, like, I mean, I guess Mario has. I don't know. I'm gonna give it Street Fighter 6.
So
25.
Our GameLuster awards, we don't have, instead of the multiplayer category, ours is Best with Buddies, which is like the game that you had the most fun playing with your friends this year. So I think
Probably Party Animals then.
I think Party Animals, baby.
Okay.
Okay.
Like Diablo 4, like honestly, like I feel like if you had a group to play with, that would be really great. But
Diablo
it's not
was
much difference playing it solo versus partied. It's just like you have people with you.
Dude, I don't know. That game was also such like a flash in the pan. I don't know if people are going to give it awards this year. Like,
yeah, probably not.
It just really came and went in the space of like 2 weeks, you know? Like, all right, Sonny?
I'm not going to put anything down for this. Even though I think Baldur's Gate is a better multiplayer game, I don't think many people played it in that manner.
That's probably true.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
All right, Adam?
And also, like, I would imagine people are so focused on like individual stories. It's kind of weird to recognize this also as a multiplayer game.
Yeah,
even though it is
I mean,
there.
I played it with my mates who I played D&D with on a weekly basis, so it was like it wasn't that weird for us,
Right.
you know. And there are ways, it has mechanisms for it. So, you know, if you like, for example, someone started a conversation, the other players can see that conversation and actually kind of like say, "Oh, I would say this."
Oh, interesting.
But ultimately, the person who instigated that conversation can only pick the answer. Even though
That's
like
kinda cool.
we've all said, "Oh no, say no," I could just say yes. Like, you have no control over what I pick. But
That
people
is interesting.
Also has good Twitch integration. I know that.
Yeah, also true. Okay, Adam, do you want to put anything down?
25 on Street Fighter.
Okay.
I could see Baldur's Gate actually taking this because of how fun playing that game with multiple people is. But Street Fighter is also so multiplayer focused that
Yeah. Okay, so for adaptation, I need to spend my money, so I'm gonna put down 140, I guess, on The Last of Us. I mean, I think this. I mean, I guess I can believe in some universe like Mario would win because people like Mario, but like, I don't know. This is critics, and I think the critics are going to be more like hot on The Last of Us than Mario. Like,
I think Nocturne would be my number 2 choice here.
really?
Because it's good.
I heard it was
Castlevania
good too,
animes have been
but
good.
I also feel like the Castlevania anime has been running for like 7 years, and I don't think it's as like exciting as it was anymore.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's like we already expect, or it's not that we expect it
Yeah.
to be good, but we're not surprised when it is good at
Right.
this point.
Yeah. If this was a fan voting choice, I would 100% put in Mario, but like I think the critics are always going to lean with The Last of Us, especially since it was so good. So anyway, all right.
Right.
So yeah,
Which,
what do you
it's
think?
kind of funny because like Castlevania as a IP is something that basically feels like an anime already.
Yeah.
So it's not shocking that it adapted itself well to anime. Last of Us, on the other hand, feels like you're playing a show. And so it's like the gameplay there really is just an expression of those characters. And so so much of the factor
Right.
of the game was the story. So turning into a show felt like an easy thing to do, but they didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
So and they also made it better in some ways. And
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think it's definitely gonna win.
Um,
And
what do you want to
I
put
mean,
in?
this guy over here trying to sneak in all of these points.
Yeah.
But I want to have some left over, so I'll just do 75, so I can have 2
Okay.
points left.
Cool. All right, Sonny.
I'm Last of Us as well.
Okay.
I'll
Who
do
put-
25. I'll do 25.
25. Okay, saving up. And
You
Adam.
watch Twisted Metal one? That'd be the funniest thing ever.
I actually, yeah. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Twisted Metal, and I was like, all right, this is like kind of
It
funny in a
doesn't suck.
goofy way. It doesn't. No, it doesn't suck. Like I don't hate
Yeah, it
watching
does
this.
not suck, which is crazy.
I want to actually give a shout out here because I think that I at first was a little bit like miffed that Tetris wasn't here, but it also isn't really an adaptation of a video game in any way. So I was like, all right, whatever. Because I loved the Tetris movie. I thought it was fantastic, but it is like it is a fictionalized. It's like a dramatized retelling of the creation of the game Tetris. So it's not really an adaptation of anything. So anyway, just wanted to give it a shout out though. It's a great movie.
For sure.
What do you think?
I'm doing 100 on Last of Us. I mean, it's The Last of Us. Like
It
that
is.
show was a phenomenon when it came out.
Yeah, no, I know so many people. Okay, I went to like a meetup thing that had like 100 people at it like a few months ago, and like I don't know how we got onto like something about like the post-apocalypse, but like everybody had watched The Last of Us, and a lot of people didn't even know it was a video game. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, like most of my coworkers have seen the last.
yeah,
one
I talked about it at work every time a new episode came out. Like everyone was
Yeah.
watching it. It was crazy.
When I actually haven't even watched it. And when I would go into work, my coworkers would be like, "What's that show? It's like zombies, and I think it's a game, right?" And they would ask me because they know I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
It's like, "Oh, The Last of Us." Yes, okay, I know what you're talking.
Yeah, you should watch it though. It is really well
I
done.
want to.
And
I
in
just
some,
haven't gotten around to it.
yeah, I think it is in some ways better than the game, honestly. But that's just
Yeah.
me.
You don't have to carry ladders around and swim
Yeah.
rafts from one location to the other.
Okay, so most anticipated. This one's like. This is a very weird list of video games.
Yeah.
It feels hard to vote on the next two, honestly. Like Player's Choice.
Yeah.
And most anticipated.
That's why I don't have any points left.
Hey,
I guess
nice.
that's smart. I
I-
like the time.
I'm gonna put some down on Final Fantasy VII. It's definitely the biggest name there.
I don't see how that doesn't win, honestly.
Yeah, like-
that's such a huge game.
It's a giant game, and I think like Final Fantasy catches like, especially remake, like caught like a lot of people that haven't really gotten into the older games either. You know, so it's like.
The amount of people I've seen that said Remake was their first Final Fantasy is kind of shocking. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not, but a lot of people
I think it is a lot of people.
come into it as a remake.
Yeah. Do you want to put anything down?
Well, Hades 2 is honestly mine, but it's the one I would anticipate more because I liked Hades.
Oh,
1 a
yeah,
lot,
for me-
and I love roguelites.
For me, Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth is my most anticipated game of the next year, like by a long shot. So that's just I don't think that's going to appeal to as many people though.
But I do think Rebirth will win, and I'll put 50 on it.
Okay.
So I'll do 45, so I can have 5 for the next one.
Awesome. Sonny.
Rebirth as well.
Yeah.
I'm putting all the 150 down for that.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like all he had to do was mention Final Fantasy, and the room went nuts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, it's like people are over crazy about this.
I would actually also
Myself
be.
included.
Sorry.
and myself included.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
it's an infinite wealth.
Yeah. I'm very excited for Rebirth as well. I loved Remake. I also am like very sure that Rebirth is gonna have like its like final gameplay trailer here at the Game Awards too. So like
100%.
yeah.
Oh, if it doesn't have a big trailer here, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, it'd be very surprising. Okay, and then Adam, you want to put in anything? You already you've exhausted
I have
yourself.
no coins left, but I mean, it's Final Fantasy.
Sure.
My heart says like a dragon, but like you were saying, Rob, it's not gonna win.
All
I mean,
right.
like, think of like, there's not many games in the world ever that would be more anticipated than Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, like the only thing.
Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, 7 specifically is
Right.
Just,
The only thing, like, if
9 is probably the only other one, right? If they announced a 9 remake, I think people would go crazy.
I would say the only, and it's not on here, which is why it's like GTA 6. If that was there, that would definitely win.
Oh yeah.
But it's not on here, so I think it's because they haven't officially announced it, like quote unquote. So yeah, right. So player's choice. I'm just gonna put down Baldur's Gate 3 for some easy points. I know people are gonna vote for that.
So this is just where we're choosing who wins. Or who should win. This is our choice of.
No, this is no. Oh no, there is a Player's Choice Award. It is 100% fan voted for game. It's basically Game of the Year, 100% chosen by fans.
Is it like all games possible?
Yes. So so they don't do it with the regular awards. Like they'll show it. I think it's like the last week before the Game Awards. They have 3 rounds.
Right. I remember. It comes late.
There was controversy last year. That's all I remember.
It was because of Genshin Impact. Fucking basically the Genshin Impact communities like rallied together and like because Sonic Frontiers was winning for like the entire thing, and then at the end Genshin Impact came out of nowhere because they just like there was also some accusations of like bot farming and stuff like that because like anyway.
Sorry, we also had the Ghost of Tsushima year versus Last of Us 2. Online trolling.
Yeah. Well, Ghost of Tsushima won that year, right?
Won Player's Choice because of all the internet backlash against Last of Us 2.
Yeah, that's true. I also thought Ghost of Tsushima was a lot better of a game. That's just me.
I mean, I think they're both great games.
They're both great. But yeah, I know.
Last of Us 2,
I know why. Yeah, Oh, for sure. Like, it's so hard to talk about. Like, I have an issue with The Last of Us 2, and everyone's like, "Oh, so you're a racist?" I'm like, "What?"
Racist.
Anyway, so
happy, huh?
Yeah, David, you do have 5 points left. What do you want to put it in?
Armored Core 6.
Okay. Yeah, dream more. Make the dream real. Make your dreams a reality. I love it.
This is my player's choice. This player's choice was Armored Core 6.
Jesus. All right, pretty good. All right, so we're gonna jump over to our wild ones here. I think like I said, we may not like bet on these just because like I don't think it really makes sense to do it, but I would like for us to put all of ours in here and kind of celebrate them. So
I do. Sorry, one of the categories we skipped, content creator of the year, which obviously is a category that doesn't make any sense ever.
Right.
But the fact that People Make Games was nominated, even though they've been doing the same thing for like 6 years and they've been amazing at it. But they had some pretty big like reveals this year, like their the one Disco Elysium, their like 2-hour Disco Elysium deep dive was like really good, and their Valve deep dive was also really good. They went to an Excel spreadsheet competition, an esports event for Excel people.
Wow.
And I just want it's like a 30-minute video. It's amazing. It's very funny. Shout out People Make Games. They're a great YouTube channel.
Yeah, Sonny, you should go to that competition, dude.
I am. That's fine up for that.
All right, so we'll pop over to the wild ones now. So I'll reveal mine. One, let's see here. Timothée Chalamet will appear on stage to introduce the trailer for Dune 2, which is not a video game, but Geoff will act like it is a video game.
Or I wouldn't be shocked if there is a spin-off of some sort Dune game.
Well, there is a Dune game that's coming. It actually just went up in
based
early.
on the movie. Or whatever.
It is.
Spice Wars.
It is?
Right?
Yeah, it's set in the same
universe.
I thought it was like set in the timeline of the movie / book.
Spice Wars is already out. That's the.
It opened up in early access like a week ago.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
And what if he combos that with his Kojima announcement?
That could be it.
Hanging out with Kojima with his leather vest.
All right, here's my second one. A live animal will appear on stage during the event and try to escape.
Well,
Wow.
try to escape. That's funny.
Trying to escape.
Very nice.
I don't think I did it for the last one, but I almost always include live animals in my wild ones. All right, and then here we have someone tries to crash the stage again. Security actually stops them this time, but then Geoff turns to look at the camera smugly for a full 10 seconds without speaking as it slowly pans in.
Are we all gonna make some sort of reference to?
Absolutely. There's no way we're not.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I have one.
I have one.
See, I did have one. I took it off because I thought it was,
Okay. No, it's not. No, it's.
I'm keeping mine.
All right.
Okay, well, I got mine.
Yeah, David, hit me with yours. I'll type him in.
I do like yours. Like the candid pan onto Geoff. That seems like something you would do. Though he would have to say something. Geoff doesn't not say something. Like Geoff is.
No, I want him to like smugly look at the camera while it slowly zooms into him.
When is the last time Geoff hasn't said something?
Come on.
He talks. So mine is guy comes on stage. Security tries to stop him. Geoff sees him and he says, "Just give him a minute." Guy takes off his hat. It's Joseph Ferris. He announces it takes 3.
Wow. Hold on, I think we lost you.
But like the daughter's now in part of the relationship, and it's the parents trying to deal with their daughter as she goes through teenage years.
I thought you were saying it was like about a thruple, but yeah, whatever.
I've got all mine. I can copy and paste them.
Okay, cool. So
I have edit access. I don't have edit access. Never mind. Do you want me to just ping these in Discord?
Sure. I'll just paste them in there.
Okay. Number 2.
Yeah.
Sam Lake is there in person on stage, either announcing or accepting an award. You know, that's not too shocking because he's a big deal right now. Geoff's like, "Oh, great. You know, I love Alan Wake 2. It's really cool." And you got Max Payne, right? He's like, and Sam's like, "Yeah, I've got actually a big reveal." And he turns around and the RCU timeline shows up on the screen. And it's the Remedy Cinematic Universe mirroring the Star Wars or Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, the way they do like the timeline.
Like the timeline of all of the next stuff comes out. And so of course it has like Control 2. It's got Alan Wake DLC. It's got Control 2 DLC. It's got Max Payne Remastered. Crossfire, shockingly, a Crossfire crossover with their other universe with a Max Payne skin. And then a mystery game at the end that's just called MPE. And then he looks at the screen and does his Max Payne grimace.
Nice.
And then it cuts, or it goes something else.
I can believe
what is that? And he just doesn't say anything.
I can believe some form of that will happen, like some form of it.
The MPE is playing on AWE, which was the not the Alan Wake experience, but everyone called it the Alan Wake experience.
Yeah.
It was Alter World event. And then my third one. Let me post this. Here we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong channel. My third one is Gabe is there, and he is brought on stage at least during some sort of esports event or some discussion of esports or multiplayer games or whatever. Geoff's like, "Okay, cool, you've got Counter-Strike 2, and I just saw on YouTube you had that." Working hard and very proud of our legacy in Valve. But we have something in.
Hang on, I think my Discord's freezing.
To the next iteration, and then all you see is a big 3 on the screen, and then.
Ooh.
Or I guess a scout, G-Man or a scout.
Nice. I feel like I lost connection there like a little bit, but I think it's okay. I got the idea here. All right. So I was not here. Sonny, what are your wild ones?
But it.
Hello?
Friends, but it doesn't really say what it is specifically.
I feel like everybody's. Hold on. Hello? Can people hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sound fine.
Huh. Okay, sorry. I was like gone for a little bit there. Anyway, I think I got your wild one in there, so.
Was it me maybe? Because I'm a little.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, Sonny, what are you doing for your wild ones?
Right. My keeps cutting out as well, so hopefully
Maybe it's all of us.
Yeah, I think it is all of us.
Having a problem. Right. So my first one is, in an attempt to replicate when they had sort of Phil, Reggie, and Sean on stage together.
Mm-hmm. Ah, damn it! I'm losing you again.
And Sam Lake.
Okay, I feel like my audio is cutting out. Can you paste those in the? Okay, thanks. Attempt to replicate having Phil, Reggie, and Sean on stage together. There'll be a speech from Ed Boon, Todd Howard, and Sam Lake. Definitely the Holy Trinity. Okay. Let's see. Can someone talk for a second again? I think all of you look for.
Yeah, I think
I
we're
think
all
everybody-
lagging.
Yeah, I think we're all
Yeah.
lagging.
It's constantly cutting out for me.
Yeah, I don't really know what that. All right, let's try to get through this quickly. Sonny, what are your other two?
Right. The next one is, I'll put it in here first, just in case. When Ben Starr accepts his award for best performance, his first words of his speech is going to be, "It's a me, a Ben."
Okay, I remember that joke.
Right.
I can believe that.
Mhm.
Right. And the third one is Vin Diesel will reveal himself in full cosplay of his Arc 2
Yes.
character, including the little dinosaur.
Oh my god, that's so good. Okay.
I've got little.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. The
The inflatable.
yeah,
dinosaurs.
absolutely. 100%.
That's funny.
That is a really good one. Okay, Adam.
My first one will be that a Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer does appear, but it does not premiere at the Game Awards. So I think
It's already been
trailer-
shown elsewhere.
It's already been premiered. It's already been shown. They've already done their own thing, but they still
If
show
that's
up
really
with.
that wild, because I kind
That
of
sounds like
expected
it
that
might
to
happen.
Because aren't they? They've already said they're going to show it in early December.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think they're going to premiere that thing at the Game Awards.
Well,
though,
I
so
assumed that they were going to premiere it.
Yeah, like on their own.
that it'll show up at the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut out again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
okay.
second one is that there will be a visual upgrade to security this year, and Geoff will awkwardly acknowledge the multiple stage crashers that his events have had, and a person is still able to crash the stage regardless of all of that.
Okay. Okay.
And then, last but not least, Geoff Keighley announces that he will be featured in a new game coming up, and it is revealed that he will be a celebrity target for Hitman.
That's good.
Oh my god, that's really good. I want that.
It would be even better if it's like if he kind of like alludes to Death Stranding 2, and then he's like, nope.
Nope. Very good. Also, I don't know if anyone saw Timothy Chalamet was at Kojima's office the other day. He's definitely getting a
Damn right he
cameo.
was.
Wearing his belt jacket.
Yeah, his fucking
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts ass belt jacket. Oh my god. Okay, so those are our picks and predictions for the Game Awards this year. We'll be doing a live stream during it on GameLuster Twitch, which is just twitch.tv/GameLuster. It should be easy to find us. But yeah, we're really excited for this. I am interested in seeing if we have any like super surprises this year, because I don't feel like there's a lot of room for like giant surprises this year, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So yeah, get us with something crazy. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for joining us all. This has been a very long thing. I was hoping to do this in 2 hours, but we went a little over. No worries, but make sure to stick around for more of this stuff. And thank you guys for joining me.
Goodbye.
Hey, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.